pastures green along the right path. Yeah, he's guiding me. My cup overflows. I'm anointed, bro. So enemy, don't waste your time with me. Yeah, it's like he blinded me. He restored my soul and reminded me that, yeah, though I walk through the valley of the darkest place, I know you reside in me. Whoa, it's like I started to see, put my hands in the air, fell down to my knees, said surely goodness and mercy for the rest of my days will now follow me. Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of mine enemies, that's favor. Do me a favor, allow me to dwell in your house, Lord, and I'll never leave. If you're alright with the Lord in your life, yeah, right, that's favor. If you wanna outpour in more in your life, how about try favor? If you're stressed and you wanna be blessed, then it won't take a sec, try favor. If you want the Savior's favor, then do me a favor, praise up. If you're alright with the Lord in your life, yeah, right, that's favor. If you wanna outpour in more in your life, how about try favor? If you're stressed and you wanna be blessed, then say nothing less, try favor. If you've got the Savior's favor, then do me a favor, praise up.
Birds singing in the trees, singing songs that you've never.
Let's give him some uplifting music as well. Let's do this.
Melting in the sun, and the smiling's never done. Whoa, freedom reigns and washes away all my pain. And that doesn't seem like reality, but it's here right in front of me. I love days like this, yeah, I love days like this. It's here comes the sun.
Now, this is one of those underrated Dancehall songs. This song is massive. Dancehall, what are you saying, family? Let's go. We're gonna play 2 more songs before we bring on our first act onto the stage. We got a big one today, man. You're gonna enjoy it. Let's do this. Let's go. Once again, welcome to Access All Areas, AAA Seminars across all social media. That's at AAA Seminars. If you don't know who I am, my name is DJ Longest. Okay, one more tune before we bring on our first act onto the stage. Let's go. DJ Longest.
The L, the O, the N, the G, the E, the R, the S.
DJ Longest.
Quite hopeful and optimistic. That's my usual frame of mind, but this year takes the biscuit. And most people that I've spoken to are probably not gonna miss it. Before I go any further, this probably sounds familiar, but what can I say? I grew up on Mike Skinner. I'm from the streets too, not many dry eyes in sight. Can't believe it's come to this. But when you come from the concrete, you learn to count blessings. And as days go by, you get numb to the stresses and the pressures.
Hope you're watching over us. Hope you're watching over us.
Access All Areas, your AAA pass to the music industry.
Make sure you know that this is the AAA pass to the music industry. So let's welcome on stage our first act.
Access All Areas new artist showcase. We are the home of new UK music. The next artist to perform on the AAA stage is...
Let's have a virtual round of applause for the one and only Nafima!
Hello everyone, how are you doing tonight? God is good, and this song is titled Walk With Me because he walks with me all the time. Enjoy. You are my joy. This feeling that you give, I cannot describe. You're the one that works inside. You are my peace. The expressions of your loving gives me life. You're the one that works inside. You are my joy. This feeling that you give, I cannot describe. You're the one that works inside. You are my peace. The expressions of your love, they gives me life. You're the one that works inside. Joy, 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 joy. Joy, joy like a river. Joy, joy, joy. You're walking with me. I'm walking, yes, yes, you're walking with me. You walk with me. Oh, you walk with me. You talk with me. This feeling that you give, I cannot describe. baby. And this next song is a song of thanksgiving because he's so good and I can't thank him enough. Just sing along with me. Oh, na na. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your grace, so amazing, it's all I see. Your favor surrounds me, you're my shield. Lord, you planted me by the waters, I'm evergreen, fruitful in every season. Now I sing, I cannot thank you enough for all you've done for me. I cannot praise you enough for all you've been to me, oh God. I cannot thank you enough for all you've done for me. I cannot praise you enough for all you've been to me. You got me singing, oh la la, oh la la la, oh la la la, oh la la, oh la la la, oh la la la, oh 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 la la, yeah, oh la la. Your love is forever. You'll always be strong tower, my defender, my everything. Lord, you planted me by the waters. I'm evergreen, fruitful in every season. Now I sing. I cannot thank you enough for all you've done for me. I cannot praise you enough for all you've been to me, oh God. I cannot thank you enough for all you've done for me. I cannot praise you enough for all you've been to me. You got me singing, oh la la, oh la la la, oh la la, oh la. The melodies in my heart now, oh la 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 la, oh la la la. Lord, you got me singing, oh la la la, oh la la, oh la. Lord, you got me singing, oh la la, oh la la. Put your hands like this, oh la la la, oh oh. My mouth will not stop praising your name. Every time, every night and day, I'll sing your praise. My mouth will not stop praising your name. Every time, every night and day, I'll sing your praise. Sing your praise. Oh, la, 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 Lord, you got me singing now. Oh, la, la, melodies, melodies. Oh, la, la, you fill my life with so much joy. Fill my heart with so much peace. I cannot thank you enough. Oh la la la, you got me singing. Oh la 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 la, oh la la la. Lord, you got me, you got me, you got me like. Oh la la, oh la la la, oh la la la, oh la la la, oh la la, oh la la la, oh la la. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and your mercy. Thank you. Oh, na, na. Oh, you're so wonderful, Jesus. And this next song is called On You. It's because anytime I call on the Lord, He answers me. So join me to vibe to this one.
It's T-Babs on the beat.
I'm so excited. I found the love of my life. So captivating. His love, it keeps me alive. Ooh la la la. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. You know what? We need to get you down here again. You came on there and you actually slaughtered it straight from beginning to the end. This is how you start off being the warm-up act on the show and killing it.
Thank you.
Nafima, where are you from?
I'm literally from all around the world.
Oh, wow.
Literally.
Properly mixed up.
All around the world.
Okay, all right. Now, do you actually write your own lyrics as well?
Yeah, I write all my music myself.
And you look like you are primed for the stage, like you've been performing for years.
I just enjoy doing it. I love music so much, so that is home for me. When I do music, I'm at home, so I just enjoy myself and vibe to the music.
Oh, so it's not a case of you been performing for years, you're just a natural?
Well...
Some people got it like that.
Some
Some people
people
got it like that. Oh, okay.
But no, I enjoy doing this, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been performing?
Say, like 5 years.
Okay, and how long have you been actually writing as well?
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 years.
Okay. How did you find it from where you started to where you are now?
It's been a journey of growth, so
Yes.
much growth. And, you know, the thing about music or anything in life is the more you do, the better you become. So I realized that the more I wrote music, the more I understood the music, the more I
Exactly.
understood how it works, and the
Yes.
better I became at it.
So, all right. So now we heard 3 tracks from you, and they're all very different.
Yeah.
What would you say is your sound?
So I'm an R&B singer, however, I don't like to put myself in a box.
Okay, exactly.
I express myself how the music comes to me, but you can just say an R&B Afro house artist.
Okay, because you had that I'm a piano vibe at the
Yeah.
end of it, and everybody, I'm sure, in their houses, wherever they are, will actually sit in there thinking to themselves, wow.
I actually have like an EP that my latest EP, and it's just full of house music. I'm a piano blend of Afro. Basically.
Okay, okay. So, musically wise, what have you got coming out?
Ooh, there's a lot coming up, guys. You need to get ready.
Girl, you got to put that exclusive right here, right now.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, I released an EP titled House of God.
Yes.
And literally, it's house music. I'm a piano, mix of Afro R&B vocals.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be releasing House of God 2. An EP, so it's just going to be more of that because people really loved it, enjoyed seeing that side to Nafi Mar, especially gospel music that you can vibe to and still be blessed to with the lyrics. So more is coming out very soon. Watch out.
Oh, but hold on, very soon ain't good enough. We need a
If you want to know, just follow me on social media.
Okay,
Instagram,
so we was gonna
Facebook.
get to that next, but before
Yeah.
we get to that, are you producing as well? Do you produce your own?
Yes, I do produce. Yeah, I produce and I love to work with other producers.
And did you produce the stuff that we just performed?
Thank you enough. I worked on it with a producer. We worked together, so it was a
co-produced.
co-produced. Yeah, but so I do work and I record all my stuff myself.
Okay, now's your time to plug yourself, right? What's your socials? Your Spotify's, your
Yeah, my
YouTube's, your everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's NAFFYMAR, Nafimar. You can find that on Spotify, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's the same name on every social media platform. So just follow me on there, and you get updates on my new music and new stuff coming up.
Okay, and I see an accent there. Like, where's the accent from?
I told you I'm from all around the world. I can be American today, next week I'm British. So just let's take it like that.
Okay, so you just remixed.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You came here, you smashed it. Can we have a virtual round of applause for
Thank
Nafi Mar,
you.
please? Thank you. All right, so now we're going to that part of the show. All right? So before we start that part of the show, let's introduce again Access All Areas.
Welcome to Access All Areas. New artists performing live, informative panels, and networking sessions, giving the full 360 on the music business. Access All Areas. We are your AAA pass to the music industry.
Can we have a virtual round of applause for our moderator today, Lady T?
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're from. Thank you, DJ Longers. Sorry. Need to finish my words there. I've been known to not say words, names properly, but I will try and get it right today. We're not going to do that with the accents, no. But thank you so much. Welcome to Access All Areas. This is the Gospel edition. And it's going to be an afternoon of talking about gospel music, the intersectionality of gospel music. Now, we have an array of panelists for you, and I'm going to introduce them right about now, actually. So first off, we have Wisdom. Now, he is a former member of the pioneering Christian hip-hop group, Green Jade. How about that? Royalty. Way back in the 90s. And they had some great albums, breaking albums, as I must say. And he's also the co-founder of Big Music Project and now the MD of Talyard Impact, which is the corporate social responsibility division for Talyard Studios. He's also the director of the GMIA, which is the Gospel Music Industry Alliance. Hello, Wisdom.
How you doing? You all right?
I'm very good. Oh, by the way, I forgot to add as well. He's actually the manager of Pop R&B Nostalgia. Oh, yeah. What's that like being a band manager?
Intense, as I'm sure Loretta will attest to in not too long.
And I have to say, and they're all girls as well, or women, shall I say. So how was that? Love it. Oh man. But thank you so much for being part of the panel today. So just in 1 minute or 30 seconds, real quickly about yourself.
Yeah, so as you said, member of Green Jade, worked in the industry for a very long time and then kind of stepped out of it, worked around anti-gun crime with Green Jade and then moving into working with XLP and had the opportunity to open a school called ELAM and really found that I really wanted to be involved in supporting bringing new artists through.
Yeah.
And found that there was this gap between music education and musical careers and realized that really needed to be opened from the inside of the industry out. So that's what I've been doing here at Talyard and, very much involved in AAA seminars. So really looking forward to today.
Woo! I'm very much looking forward to it too. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so next up on the panelist is the wonderful Audrey Gray. She offers a wide insight into the music community as an industry consultant and artist developer. She established AG Consultancy and Services, and in a role as an artist developer working with vocal students, and also her passion has always been to develop and equip artists to take charge of their careers. She also launched Artist Hub in early 2012, and it provides various artist-related services, which includes promotional tours, especially to newcomers and to established artists as well, looking to break new territories. And she's also the newly appointed CEO of GMIA, which is the Gospel Music Industry Alliance. Hello, Audrey.
Hello.
How are you?
Good to be on board today. I'm really looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, me too. So, I mean, I told a little bit about yourself. Can you expand a little bit on more things that you do?
What else is left to say to you? I think you kind of summed it up. I've been working with artists and different organizations as well for about 15 years. So a lot of gospel work and sometimes in the mainstream as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been an interesting journey and it continues.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to have you here as well. Okay, so more panel royalty. In fact, everybody on the panel today is royalty in some shape or form. Clinton Jordan has shared the stage with artists such as, get this, this is just the short form. I had to like cut it down. Okay. Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, Sting, Paul McCartney, and Tina Turner, just to name a few. He's also a vocal arranger for a choir sensation, the Kingdom Choir. Yes, that choir. And also in the educational world, his workshops have earned him the Jack Petchey Award for Outstanding Leader. And he's also part of the legendary, if you don't know, get to know, the Jordan family. Welcome, Clinton Jordan.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm absolutely fantastic.
It's great to have you. I mean, I only covered just a smidgen of all the accomplishments that you've had. So what else do you kind of like do apart from, vocal arranging and singing in front of royalty?
Well, this week I've been painting my hallway, so I'm a painter and decorator. It's really fascinating in this pandemic how many skills that you can actually acquire and use. So I'm now going to add that to my resume.
Love it.
Yeah, so coaching is always been in my blood. We're developing some new technology at the moment within the coaching world, and it's just been a fantastic kind of season at the moment to see new things from different angles. I think probably with everyone on this panel, everyone is like doing new things because of this environment. So it's a bit of everything.
Fantastic. I love it. I might come to you for some painting tips.
Oh yeah, I'm that guy today.
Yes. I love it. Okay, now on to our next panelist, Loretta Andrew. She's a radio broadcaster and singer, and she's the founder and director of Safe Music Management, which was started in 2015. Loretta started in music at a young age and has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Probably with everybody on the panel today, we're looking at probably about over 150 years experience. Yes, you got that right. 150. Now, with experience as a session singer, signed artist, also event host, she has got a well-rounded skills in most aspects of business, and she has repeatedly been asked to manage artists and always declined due to the pressures. But now, her roster is alive and kicking. I'm kind of jealous. I'm not an artist, to be honest, because if I was, I would want to be managed by Loretta for sure. So she finally took the plunge in 2015 and took on some great artists, supporting them in their journey. She currently manages poet, producer, and rapper Joshua Luke Smith, British, Nigerian, Jamaican folk soul singer, songwriter Bianca Rose, award-winning rap and grime artist Governor B, soulful singer-songwriter Jake Isaac, and US soul singer Madison Ryan Ward. It is Loretta Andrews. Yay! How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Busy like everyone, but really good.
I can imagine. I mean, that roster of names, I'm a little bit jealous. I can't lie. How do you manage doing all of that? Like all these artists, especially different personalities?
I don't know. People say to me about the whole, how do you balance everything? I'm not sure I do. I think you just work really hard. But I think why I manage it is because I genuinely am a fan of all of my artists, and it really gives me life to work with them and to see their dreams, become a reality. So it doesn't always feel like work, even though there is a lot of work involved.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like when you enjoy doing something, it's not really work. It's just like, I'm just doing it because I love what I do. So it doesn't seem like as hard, although sleepless nights, 3 a.m. bedtimes, don't miss those. Thank you so much for joining us, Loretta. Okay, so to our panelists who are with us in the studio, we've got Ayo, aka Ace. He's got over 18 years in the music industry, working with artists such as Duffy, Tiny Temper, Jessie J, Callum Scott, Mel Nassim, to name a few. He's also served as the creative director of the LCGC for over 10 years, and he brings a wealth of experience to the table in all areas of music, especially writing and arranging. Hello, Ayo. Yay, give him a round of applause. How you doing?
Good.
I'm very, very well. Thank you very much. It's good to have you here. Sorry, say that again? Oh yeah, I can't wait for this conversation. It's going to be so good. Okay, on to our next panelist. Honestly, like I said, we have royalty. Like every single person today is royalty in music. And if you've never heard of them, well, today is the day for learning. Charlene Hector is a UK singer-songwriter. She has worked as backing vocalist with Alicia Keys, Muse, Primal Scream, Rebecca Ferguson, Lala Hathaway, Tiny Temper, Josh Groban, Michael Bublé. Okay, I'm going to stop there because the list goes on and as well as performing on TV shows such as X Factor and Sounds Like Friday Night with the likes of One Republic and John Legend. And for the past 20 years, she has fronted the UK house group Basement Jaxx as a lead vocalist, headline shows such as Glastonbury Festival and other festivals around the world, and as well as touring with Blondie, Emily Sandé and Sam Sparrow. Her debut EP, Expressions, is also available on iTunes. Whatever you do today, go check it out. You'll love it. Welcome, Charlene Hector.
Thank you very much.
Did I do you justice? Was that good?
That was wonderful. I was slightly intimidated by my own CV. I was like, I forgot about that one. Of course.
Listen, I gotta give you all the accolades because everybody, I'm just like, how am I gonna cut? I struggle to cut everything down. I'm like, I need to do this justice. So
thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. Okay, so next up is the founder and chief editor of A Step Forward, which was founded in 2014 and is the founder of the UK Christian Chart. O'Neill Dennis, or Dennis, whichever one you like, because I've never known someone to have a surname for a first name. There's always a debate going back and forth, but he's over it now. So we can call it whichever one you like. And he is a pioneer in UK Christian music and is a true creative of whom he only says that the best has to be good enough. It has to be the best, to be the best, to have the best. I'm going to stop saying the best. Welcome, O'Neill Dennis, to the panel as well.
Thank you so much. Great to be here. Really great to be here.
It's great to have you. So your hair isn't out today because usually you're known as the mad sort of scientist hairstyle. So it's tame today, right?
Oh, we're keeping that a secret. Not, no, that's it. Yeah.
Sorry, I think I just gave it away, but that's okay. They're just going to look back on Google and find your pictures, then they'll know. So it's all good. Okay, so we've got a couple more. Before I come to our panelists in the studio, I'm just going to go to our panelist who is online. Right now, we've got the lovely Natalie Maddox from the House Gospel Choir. Natalie is a vocalist, singer-songwriter, producer, and for the past 7 years, a founder and creative director of the mighty House Gospel Choir. Again, get to know. They're on a mission to inspire, elevate, and educate the music industry on the true value of vocalists and musicians. And Natalie also formed the REP, Record Everything Properly vocal agency, which offers work, advice, and guidance to session vocalists. Welcome, Natalie.
Wow, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for it. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much. Okay, so since founding like the House Gospel Choir, what's been the most fun thing that's happened to you guys?
To be honest, I started the choir because I wanted to sing with my mates every Monday, and
wow.
Apart from during the pandemic, when we actually couldn't do that, the whole thing's been fun. You know,
Wow.
It's like one big party from beginning to end, and our session's always on a Monday night, so you just start the week off like just on a high and hope that carries us through the difficult things that we're all bound to face.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Definitely love that. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. Okay, so last but not least, we have the one and only I'm not going to say man-like, but gentleman, that is royalty, that is Mr. Richie Dan. He's in the studio with us today. So I'm going to get Richie to talk about himself for about a minute. So you got a minute to tell us who you are and what you do, because I think it's best that way you do it yourself. Go on, sir.
Hi, guys. So good to be here. I'm Richie Dan. I come from a reggae background, growing up in the 70s up north, where my community was really, really heavy in West Indian culture. So I had no option but to just be music led, you know. So from that, I just latched onto music, and I knew that was for me. So I took it till I couldn't, till North couldn't contain me, and I came to live in London. From there, I just continued to hook up with different producers, and then ended up getting some success and going all around the world doing my tracks and working with people like Craig David. Well, sharing the stages then with people like the likes of Craig David, Elizabeth Troy. Just like, I mean, I had a few really big garage hits, which really took me made my reggae career look really small and took me to a different experience, which, you know, I'm really thankful for. And I tried my hand at managing an artist in the early 2000s. I actually managed Deneo when he first started. Ooh. And me and my brother were able to like break him his first deal. And I found that I really preferred being an artist. So you know, I'm a year-to-year performer, singer-songwriter, so that's me, and I've just reverted back to that. You know, yeah, here I am. You know, I became a Christian in 2004, and since then I've just been trying to, you know, live my life in a way that glorifies God without, you know, offending, you know, without like compromising in a way that I can't come back from, you know. So I'm still happy. I'm still here, and I'm still pushing forward, you know, and doing my thing.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you on the panel today. So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who's here on the panel. I'm looking forward to the discussion. So today's topic, the intersectionality of gospel music. It sounds so heavy, and it's quite, there's a lot to dive into. So it's going to be great to get the views of everybody here today on how, you know, being in music, whether you're doing mainstream or doing gospel, how it like all connects, how it should connect, and everybody should live happily. But that doesn't really work. But there are ways that can happen today, or tips on how that can happen. So the seminar, as a flag in the ground, is really for faith-based artists that can to help them navigate the mainstream music industry, from those who have pioneered by sharing good practices and how challenges can be better supported. Everybody on the panel has worked in mainstream in some way, shape, or form, and are successful at it, and also working in gospel music as well. The sound and talent of artists from gospel community is seldom in doubt, making up many of the session musicians and vocalists that support the UK music industry. However, there remains a stigma attached to their place as the main artist in mainstream industry, and how the church accepts the work of those who operate outside its four walls, because it's always a bone of contention every single time. But we need to move on because we're in 2021. Okay, so gospel music. Now, the GMIA, which I forgot to say about me, sorry, my name's Lady T. Although DJ Longest did his thing, I'm Lady T. I'll be your moderator for today. I'm a radio presenter, I host, I do these type of events, and I'm also the chair of GMIA as well. So, and it's been a journey. It's been a great journey, but we're making some great strides, and UK gospel is going to be looking more healthier from now, to be honest with you, because we have some great artists, we've got great managers, and we've got great practitioners in the industry who are just making some absolute amazing changes and breaking new bounds. So that's me. Now, the GMIA interprets gospel music as this. Okay, it interprets UK gospel music as derived from the African, American, and Caribbean musical experience related to the Christian faith, delivered by a wide range of industry creatives and practitioners, incorporating both the gospel genre and gospel message delivered overtly or by inspiration. So I'm going to put this to everyone, and I want you to give me whether you agree or disagree, or what your thoughts are on it. So we're going to start with wisdom, and then we'll work our way around. So what do you think?
Yeah, I felt that was a pretty good understanding of gospel, sort of from both sides, because I've always kind of felt that gospel is both sides of the coin. There's one that into the kingdom, if you like, and then one side that faces outwards. And I'd always found, especially as a hip hop artist that kind of straddled both, was always kind of uncomfortable with the way that the term gospel was used, and it felt it was different in different places. So I would say it would be like in the Black Christian church, it was all Christian music. In the white Christian church, it was Black Christian music, and in the mainstream, it was quiet. So, and then as a hip hop group, we didn't always fit into that. So it is useful, I think, to be able to have a definition that kind of incorporates all kind of practitioners from a faith-based background. So yeah, that kind of works for me.
Awesome. Okay, Clinton.
It's really always one of those strange subjects where we're in, out, shake it all about. Where does it lie?
Right.
Gospel music for me, in my belief, has always been to travel out and give the good news. That's where it's always been. How you give it, well, that's another conversation, and I think that starts where it starts getting a bit cloudy. I remember being asked one time on a gig in London. I was in a nightclub in London, support act in Omar actually, and one of the interviewers doing a live broadcast said, your music is not church music. Why are you not doing church music? You should be doing gospel music. Oh. And it was very kind of accusational, it was kind of setting me up. And I said, well, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So all of the frequencies, all of the sine waves, all of the patterns, all of the contrapuntal movement, all of the cross-pollinasia of everything belongs to him first. And then I use it as he will. And so there's always this backlash between being out looking in and in looking out. And anyone that decides to go out is always going to get a bit of friction because people haven't done it before. That's what happened to Apostle Paul. I just follow what Apostle Paul did, which followed Christ.
Wow, amazing. I love that. Loretta?
I think that labels are usually, and categories are usually unhelpful. But we need them to try and understand what people mean, but they don't always mean what they originated with. It's like, and personally, I don't like the whole word secular, and that division. And in a way that can sort of apply to this discussion, because I don't like the idea when as soon as we have these labels, it's what is it and what isn't it, which means in and what's out. And I think that can be a bit excluding, but I think we generally know, those of us who are Christians, what we mean by gospel music. But the problem is those outside of it don't always know what we mean by that. So you turn up to something and they're expecting you all to be in gold lame robes, and because you're singing there's Jesus or something Christian in your music. So right. I think that it's not been necessarily helpful, but it's what has changed when we've seen an industry emerge is what we mean then, because that's even more difficult to categorize. So even when we've had award ceremonies like the Premier Gospel Awards, but even when you think about the Mobos and how people try to distinguish there in terms of genres, people are trying to go back to the original, but it's not always helpful to interpret it. But I understand why they're there, because you're trying to say what something is, whether there's a better term. But for example, I don't think it's great that we have a musical genre called worship music, because worship is worship, and that's happened a little bit with gospel. So again, we just have to be careful that a way of understanding something doesn't become a genre in itself, even if it started off as one. I don't know if that's helpful.
It's in depth for sure, but yeah, I it's the labels thing. It's the labels. When you start putting things with labels, and it's just like it becomes a bit complicated, because then the definition just keeps, you can have so many definitions for it. But I get it. Audrey.
Sorry, I was actually making notes because
it's good.
Really interested. Sorry, if you see me looking away and making notes. I agree with what Loretta was saying, that it can be harmful to have labels, particularly when outside in doesn't understand inside out, or vice versa. But I think the important thing is that gospel comes in so many different formats in terms of genres, etc., that I think eventually that will seep through. I think there's a need to claim gospel that we're missing. And maybe that is what's not really, that's not helping us to propel it into an area where it can stand by itself, because you're not really taking charge of it. And your gospel is definitely feeding every other genre there is on the planet. Do you see what I'm saying? In some shape or form, either it was derived from, or it's influenced by, or played within the concept of a musician or something playing that music and influencing that music. So labels kind of necessary, but I think it needs to be better defined. And I think only people within gospel should be doing that. They should be taking charge of defining that.
Yeah, it's our own, so we need to make it as it is. And what about you, Natalie?
Would you mind just reading your definition one more time? Because I thought it was so powerful. I just hadn't heard it. Like,
sure. So the GMI interprets UK gospel music as derived from the African American and Caribbean musical experience relating to the Christian faith, delivered by a wide range of industry creatives and practitioners, incorporating both the gospel genre and gospel message delivered overtly or by inspiration.
No, I love that. Thank you. I was trying to take notes as well, Audrey, but I wasn't doing such a good job. I think for me, obviously, I love house music. I love being out in the clubs, and I came across gospel house as a genre and as a way of enjoying house music. I suppose when I started raving, we're going to talk about how long ago that was. And I was always kind of struck by how many people were enjoying it. And the message was very clear. They were worship songs, they were gospel records.
Yep.
And I think, but by meeting all kinds of people on the dance floors, when I went raving Ibiza or New York or wherever, they were all very much, they wouldn't necessarily categorize themselves as Christian. They don't necessarily go to church. They definitely favored being up all night on a Saturday rather than going to church on a Sunday. And at some point that kind of became my group of people. And it felt like being at church when I was a kid, you know, just being surrounded by good energy, people that were on a vibe. And maybe there weren't as many rules, obviously, because we weren't doing it religiously, if that makes sense. But so there's a lot more freedom there. So I think what's interesting about your definition is the start from talking about it being African American music and Caribbean influence as well. Like when we're talking about sound system cultures and Negro spiritual music and the journey of music essentially, and how that thread, as Audrey quite rightly said, just runs through all popular music today. I think we have a responsibility as people that believe in God to keep sharing that message. And I understand the gospel to be the good news of Jesus, but my audiences just understand it as good news and inspiration and upliftment. And I've had many experiences where I look out and a crowd that's like maybe a bit drunk, maybe a bit high, few members like crying and not knowing quite why they are being moved in that way. Wow. So I think we're able to, by not being prescriptive about what it is, through the lens of house music and through the genre of house music, it's spreading a message and fostering a conversation that maybe it's quite hard for us to have between church and dance floor. So yeah, that's
Whew, wow, I'm loving these explanations of it. It's brilliant. So I'm going to come to you guys, our panel on stage at the moment. Charlene, I'm going to throw it to you because I'm sure you have something interesting to say about this.
Well, you know, no, I love the definition that you read out. It's really cool. For me, gospel is all about how it makes me feel. It's not so much about the type of music or, you know, the genre, so to speak, but it's more about a feeling. So just to even follow up with what Natalie said, when I first started touring, it was literally a couple of weeks after 9/11 and everyone had cancelled their tours. Like Britney cancelled, Michael Jackson cancelled, Madonna cancelled, everybody cancelled. And it was only Basement Jaxx that said, we're still going to go. And obviously being a full-on church girl at that time, my mum was like, I don't know about this group. I'm going to pray you out of this group, sort of thing. But we went on tour, and I had only ever really sung in church. So when we went on tour and we were on stage, I would look out and see people having a great time. Like Natalie says, you look out, people are drugged up, people have drunk their body weight in liquor, but they're having a wicked time. And after the shows, people would come up to me and say, I don't know why, but when you were singing, I felt something different. I don't know what it was, but thank you so much for coming, because everyone's cancelled and you guys are the only ones who've still done your shows. And I'm just so glad that you're here. But I don't know why I felt really peaceful. And there was a young lady who told me about how she just moved house or just broken up with her boyfriend, and, you know, but they feel better now. And to me, that's what gospel is. It's about feeling better, no matter what your circumstances, no matter what style of music you're playing it in. If you're singing about something and it's coming from a pure place, that to me is gospel.
Yes. Yes, come on. Deserves a round of applause. Amazing. Thank you for that. Oh, it's the feeling. It's that feeling. When they get that feeling, I think you've done your job. Full stop. You've done your job. O'Neill, how about you?
Wow. I was just, while listening to all the definitions, I was just remembering when I started in 2014, started a step forward. I'd just been saved the year before. So a lot of things were brand new and shiny for me. And in coming into the scene, one of the first big discussions that I came across was this whole thing about what is gospel music. And there's a whole Facebook thing blowing off, right? I was like, oh my God, what is this? I was confused because I'm thinking, this must have been sorted out already, seriously, you know? So I was very confused, so much so that I decided at that time, I wasn't going to get involved. I'm trying to be safe here because I saw all these people who had been around for time, who were trying to figure out and to define and to redefine, and nobody was agreeing. And it was just like, wow. So to see GMIA come out with something, I think your definition or that definition is really interesting related to started. Those wordings just show you how difficult it is to define. And, you know, I was just, while you were speaking just now, one word just popped to mind. Gospel music is an opportunity. The word opportunity just sprang to my mind because coming out of a masterclass session last week, where we were told that for Europe, for a lot of countries in Europe, gospel music has nothing to do with the faith per se. There's a whole thing going on there that is not related to the faith, right? So just listening to all the definitions and stuff, it has to be defined. It needs to be defined. And I agree with, I think, Audrey, who said that actually people who profess the faith should be the ones to actually rein in that definition, right? But it's interesting that the British definition, well, that's the British definition. And that for me just, it's a starting point, isn't it? I think that it's an opportunity for a conversation. That's how I actually rest on that.
Yeah, I think we have to have ownership of it and make sure that we know what we're talking about and we've defined it as our own. So yes, I'm liking that. Ace, how about you?
I don't know if you could tell, but I find this the question, the topic is very stressful for me. I find it very stressful. I'll tell you why. All right, I'm gonna try and not take long at all. But I really love what everybody said, but I love what Loretta said. I love what Natalie said. I love what Charlene said. I'll hone in quickly on what Natalie said. I have the same experience with like house music, for instance. A lot of people don't know I DJ as well. House and garage is my thing since I was like 14, 15 years old. So I know all of the tunes that you sang on, and all of so I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, it's you, by the way. But like, funnily enough, inside the club, which is probably one of the most shunned places that you will go, is actually the place where you'll, especially with house music, where you'll hear the most unapologetic gospel sound. And you've got everybody who doesn't know why or whatever, raising their hands, dancing, singing full on gospel, not an inspirational version, not a maybe watered down or whatever other words we want to use. I mean, full on, like Bible verses going in, right? So there's a point where I realized really early on, there's nothing you can say to stop me going in that environment, because I know what I'm getting from it. Do you understand? No matter who wants to look down at me for being the ministry of sound on a Saturday night and in church Sunday morning, because I know why I was in there. Do you feel me? So there's that part of it. Then there's the next part where it's like, I can't tell you what to feel about gospel music. Charlene just said it makes her feel good and all the rest of it. Like, there's nothing I can say to change that. So when it comes to like personal, your personal kind of description or feeling on it, that's personal. Labels are important though, because we do need to define what we're talking about, as O'Neill said. So then this is when it becomes stressful, because I'm going to throw another thing in, okay? Because we're now in 2021 and everybody's expression is very different.
Right.
All different kinds of music. So while I really love the definition from the GMIA, and I think it's a perfect starting point actually, but then you start moving on to, okay, can we have gospel music as just a genre without the faith, or even the faith without the genre? Because if it's the faith without the genre, then, or the, sorry, I can't even remember. I think you'll get what I'm saying. If somebody who's not from the African, Caribbean, or African American diaspora sings it, what are they singing? And then now everything's being called, like we've got like the emergence of CCM and stuff, which is now being called gospel just because Black people are singing it, but it relates nothing to what you described in terms of the sound of where it's coming from in any way, shape, or form. I mean, you have to go back like eons to go to the real roots and start talking about what music came from, blues and yada yada. I mean, that's how far back you've got to go to get the link. But then, so do we end up with, okay, it's gospel music if Black people sing it, and it's Christian music if white people sing it? I mean, I think I'll just drop the mic there, because I will go on for an hour. That's why it's stressful for me.
Honestly, like, you literally just you just put the stuck the fire a little bit and then drop the mic as you left, and it's just like, wow, this is that's quite a lot. And everything you said, that I think I've had conversations upon conversations with people, like, if you're Black, is it gospel music? If you're white, is it still, and you sing gospel music, are you, are you a gospel musician? Are you a Christian? It's blurred lines there. So Richard Dan, for you, lastly.
Yeah, now we are talk for real. Oh my gosh. So much has been said. I'm not even going to try and like add too much to it, because it's been so much. But the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. It. My brother, you got that bang on point. So for me, it's like, as a Christian, you should be able to sing about anything in the world. Anything in the world. And be able to touch another heart if you sing it with the right heart. Do you know what I'm saying? And then what you said about feeling, that's really key, because what if you're not making music that has words, but you are anointed when you made that music and you're playing it with God's anointing on you? The glory of God is on you when you're producing that music, but there's no words. And then that plays in a club or a bar or in a shopping center, and someone feels that in their heart. That's gospel, in my opinion. But if you're having words, then the words are very important. So the feeling comes first, but the word must back up the feeling, in my opinion. So when I'm doing my thing, it's really lively. Yeah, I have a really lively, engaging, like, act and manner. But I get to the point where it gets so crazy, it a pop off basically, that I have to stop everything and say, people, listen, we're having fun, yeah? But I don't want you to get confused right now. This is about the word. You have to hear what I'm saying. And I will go and do at least a little a cappella so they can actually hear what I was saying in the midst of all that hype and joy. And yeah, we're having a great time. I want you to hear what I'm saying because it's important. The gospel is the good news. It's a word. Unless it's just an inspirational song. You see me? And I'm done there for now.
Thank you very much, Richie. And wow, what a rich interpretation from everybody. And I feel like at some point we've all had conversations about this. And I just hear conversations of the definition of gospel and what it means and why it means that way. And for me, it's just simple. It's just the good news, just with a different sound, delivering it to the people in the way that they would enjoy it too. And like Charlene said, it's the feeling. If you're getting that person that has a feeling about what you've written and what you've produced, you've done your job. What's the complication? Why have we got to get complicated about it? But anyway, we've got lots of questions coming up, and I've got some questions to ask you guys as well. And this talks about, you know, being a Christian in the industry. Is there a fear that because of your faith, you might not be taken seriously or not included because of, you know, what people might think of your intentions? I'm going to quickly go to Charlene and Loretta real quickly about that, especially working with the artists and what you've been doing, Charlene, as well. So in the couple minutes, what do you think? And we'll start with you, Charlene.
Okay. I think for me, I was quite shell-shocked when I started singing circular music, you know, singing with different artists and stuff. It was just, everyone was just so different from the way I'd grown up, but I loved it as well. I loved the fact that I knew people that actually didn't believe in God, and I knew people that believed in a different God than me. And I learned things from all of those people. I never felt threatened. I always felt safe. I was always most of the time surrounded by really good people when I first started out, you know? So I was really lucky to have such a great experience, because Basement Jacks is kind of like a family. So we're all still in touch now, 20 years later. There's no kind of, oh yeah, we used to talk. Everyone's cool. So that's really nice. I had a really lucky experience, because I know that's not everybody's experience. But for me, I kind of struggled with the church's response to me being outside of the church and performing and earning money performing as well. It's very much kind of like, well, you know, your talent is for the Lord and it must be used only for the Lord. And if you use it for anything else, you're backsliding. But doesn't the Bible say that you got to go out? It doesn't say to stay inside the church and preach to everyone that's already been converted. It's time to go out and tell people Wagwan. Even if you're not laying hands on people and casting out demons, sometimes you're just singing and people feel better. And for me, all I've ever wanted to do is make people feel better. So I was glad to have that opportunity, but I know I kind of got a funny reaction from the church. They were kind of like, oh, well, you know, when she's left now, and it's like, oh, goodness me. It's like judgment. So that wasn't nice. But then I kind of went on to a different church and they were the total opposite. They were like, can we pray for you? Where are you going next? Is there anything you need us to pray for? Would you like us to, you know, give you a camera so you can film where you are? And, you know, they were really kind of, yes, man, you're out in the field. Great. Let us cover you in prayer. Let us look after you. And then it kind of got to the stage where I was, like I said, in ministry of sound on Saturday. Then Sunday morning, I'm in worship team and the throat is very much gone. Wow. So I kind of had to make a choice between whether or not I'm going to stay on worship team and keep singing, or whether I'm going to sing. And to be perfectly frank, I wasn't getting paid to be on worship team, but I was getting paid to sing in ministry of sound. So, you know, what are you going to do? So I chose the other, and I would go to church every once in a while. But what I found in church was that people didn't really, after a while, weren't really interested in me and how I was doing. It was more, well, are you going to sing on Sunday? Are you singing at the Christmas Carol concert? There was no kind of, hey babes, have you eaten today? Did you pay your rent last month? Are you okay? I was never really asked that. It was always, when are you going to come and perform in church? But then when I was outside of church, it was, hey babes, come around for dinner. Hey babes, we're going out. Do you want to come? Whereas in church, I didn't really have that.
The love that you're supposed to have,
community.
yeah. So the love and the support you're supposed to have, you didn't get that in the church, but you got that outside, which is what a lot of artists face.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah. So quickly to you, Loretta, because I know you've been doing this for like 20 plus years and when you first started. So is there a fear because of your faith you won't be taken seriously or not included, and others are worried about your intentions?
Yeah, it's interesting even that's the question, because again, I would completely resonate with what Shah said, in that you get more negative reactions from those who are Christians then I don't think I've never been not taken seriously outside of the church for the talents that I'm bringing, whether I'm turning up for a session or whether I'm in a management situation or presenting or whatever it is, because I'm there to do a job and I make sure that I do that job really well. But definitely my definition of what church is has changed over the years, and that's why I find it so interesting, this idea of defining even what gospel music is, because also I think there's so many things that we so want to put in a box of what it means, what it even means to be a Christian or not, and what shows whether you're in or not in that. But what I would just quickly say is I think, like in the years when I was a session singer and we would turn up, there would be those things where we would just unapologetically, usually I was booked with a group of Christians, because that's how I started off as a session singer, and where I met Shah, and we were in a band together, and we would always be singing and praying before we would go and be performing with someone else, just because that's what we like to do, or we'd be even joking doing that. And the amount of times that the artist that we'd be supporting, who was a mainstream artist or whatever, would come in and say, oh, can I join in, or can I sing with you guys, or can you guys pray for me? And the opportunity we had there was so rich in meeting those people when they're probably never going to walk inside a church, but that a lot of that wasn't seen perhaps from the church that you've come from. But having said that, I didn't really grow up in a church. I became a Christian in my teens, so I really didn't get this whole divide thing. I wanted to be a singer and be in the music industry since I was 2. So when I came in, I was like, oh, I've got to choose which one I am.
Yeah,
I just didn't get that. And it's always been my mission to just work and be great at it, but also to have my faith with me, because that's just who I am. And just one quick thing I just did want to say, which I think probably more relates to the question, is one of my artists who you all know, Governor B, he really has experienced this, and it really is changing. This is why I'm really excited at the moment in time we are in history, because only 5 years ago, he would be approached by some people who would say he was too Christian to be in the mainstream, but too grimy for the church, and not fit into one or the other. And we'd send music, or he at that time wasn't working with him, but he'd send music to be on One Extra and these things. Sorry, it's a bit too Christian for us. He's now being played on those platforms. He's been playlisted on One Extra, and we have to thank people like Stormzy and Chance the Rapper and people like that, who are now in those spaces and have opened the doorway. And there's many people who have a problem with saying that they are Christians, or what right have they got to do a gospel song like Blinded by Your Grace. But I'm sorry, thanks to them, the people who, yes, have faithfully been doing Christian music now are reaching an audience that they've had a desire to want to reach, in a space that they have every right to be in. And personally, I'm really excited by that. So there was a little bit of a barrier before. He did feel that rejection, not taken seriously, but the talent has been there, and you've just got to be consistent, and people are slowly opening the door and holding it open for the people behind us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You know what? You touched on some amazing points, and we're actually going to talk about that a little bit later. And I know, Wisdom, you want to say a couple of things, but we've got to go back to the one and only Mr. DJ Longers, because we've got a showcase coming up, but we will come back to it. It's some great answers there. Absolutely amazing. So back to you, sir.
Yeah. Back in business now. You see me. You see it. DJ Longers in the place to be.
You know what? I'm gonna come on the stage and do some performance myself. Can somebody download me the lyrics for Kumbaya, please?
What?
Yeah, just
No.
just download me the lyrics. I'm gonna get on stage and I'm gonna perform that like in a couple of minutes. You get
Do
me?
you really want to clear the whole of the online streaming, because you could actually do that with that song?
Listen. You have to hear the DJ Longer's remix.
Remix? Is
Yeah,
it new,
yeah.
freshly
So-
created just this second, or is it
So-
something that you've had
so
brewing for a while?
when you download the lyrics, I remix that right there on the spot. Is it? You get me?
Can you give us a snapshot of what the lyrics says, please?
All right. Give me the melody first. Yeah. Give me the. All right. We're back in the building, DJ Longers. We've got an artist to come for you back in just a couple of minutes, but I'm gonna play one song first.
DJ Longers, your resident host and DJ of Access All Areas.
Just play one song, and then we're gonna bring out another artist on stage.
DJ Longers. DJ Longers.
AAA Access All Areas. AAA Access All Areas.
I gotta fix my eyes upon you. I cannot do nothing until you leave me through. It's so amazing, life changing. If I get my life because I've been feeling brand new, feeling brand new, feeling brand new. I always feel like this when I call upon you, call upon you, call upon you. My Lord and Savior, I fix my eyes on you.
Okay, we're ready. We're ready for our next act to hit the stage. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen?
Access All Areas new artist showcase. We are the home of new UK music. The next artist to perform on the AAA stage is...
He goes by 4 letters. Let's have a virtual round of applause for K-O-F-I!
Yeah, man.
What do you say? We want to go straight into it, bruv?
Let's go straight into it.
Let's do this.
Yeah, man. KOFI spread the love worldwide. Give up. This one survive. So nice, so nice, so nice. As I be, some people just call me, ask me waiting they happen. Them say some people just never wanna see me run my race, but as I there with God that stand tall. Them just want make I follow. Them no say God be the heavyweight champion, so no weapon that a man fashion could never stand against. Could never stand against. I got the armor run and Christ be the captain. So no weapon that a man fashion, that is man fashion. Let's go. No weapon that a man fashion. No weapon that a man fashion. No weapon that a man fashion. See, no weapon that a man fashion. Huh. See, the devil really thought that we won't get back up. See, anytime you fall, you better level up. Christ came and he died, it's spectacular. But the people, them are hitting and it's regular. Now the Holy Ghost, he there for my side. Ooh. If the devil man won't be my rival, I got the breastplate on. Oh. Strapped up tight for my torso. So no weapon that a man fashion could never stand against. Could never stand against. I got the armor run and Christ be the captain. So no weapon that a man fashion, that is man fashion. This one survive. No weapon that a man fashion. No No weapon that a man fashion. No weapon that a man fashion. No weapon that a man fashion. Zala. So nice, so nice, so nice. Listen, the moment we follow, because we answered the call. With Christ we stand tall. Any weapon they form, go follow. The moment we follow, with Christ we stand tall. With Christ, so no weapon that a man fashion could never stand against me. See, could never stand against. I got the armor running, Christ be the captain. And so no weapon that a man fashion, that this man fashion. Skate today. No weapon that a man fashion. Yeah, man. That's right. It's KOFI, spreading love worldwide. Kilpa. This one's a bit vibey. Who likes Afro swing? My praises tonight. Are you ready? Let's go. Remember when I tell you, say, this life no be holiday. Some people go run a race and some people just run away. We're talking about them, think I'm crazy. Head low, feeling humbled late. The spirit gon' lead us, babe. The spirit gon', cause I wanna give him all my praises. I see my bro on the road, tell him give your whole life to Christ. Give me grace, let me preach salvation all through my life. Cause I never really know the day or time. Let's go now. So I preach like tomorrow never did for me. Like tomorrow never did for me. So make me tell somebody. And preach like tomorrow never did. Like tomorrow never did. Like tomorrow never did for me. Like tomorrow never did for me. So make me tell somebody. And preach like tomorrow never did. Like tomorrow never did. Like tomorrow never did.
Let me talk small for the boys. Send me not talking that noise. Send me not into that drama. So I set my mind up above. So I need to preach to the people there. Tomorrow isn't promised to nobody. So I have it to the people there. Yeah. Pick it up. Said I'll pick it up. Yeah. No giving up. There's no giving up. So I put my mind and my body and my heart to know this. I can never run from my call and I'm calling to this.
Yo. Tomorrow never did for me. Like tomorrow never did for me. So may I tell somebody. And preach like tomorrow never did. Like tomorrow never did. Like tomorrow never did for me. Like tomorrow never did for me. So make me tell somebody. And preach like tomorrow never did. Like tomorrow never did. Listen, tomorrow never did. I tell him, say, make you preach and teach. This life no be meet and greet. And I intercede for the ones I meet. Sometimes we they scream, Lord, please. Oh, I never know when the time's gonna be. When death go come find me. So I just level up and recommend highly. You better tell somebody, cause I wanna give him. I see my bro on the road, tell him. Give me grace, let me preach salvation. Make I preach salvation. Cause I never really know the day. No, I never really know the time. So I preach like tomorrow never did for me. preach like tomorrow never did for me, for me. So me, I tell somebody, and preach like tomorrow never did, like tomorrow never did, like tomorrow never did for me, for me. Like tomorrow never did for me, for me. So make we tell somebody, and preach like tomorrow never did, like tomorrow never did, like tomorrow never did. Jeez! I got one more for you. This one's from Highly Confidential. DJ, run the rhythm. Ladies and gentlemen, you're now welcome to today's sermon. We're at the AAA seminar. Today's message is gonna be highly confidential. This gate to the O. As I walk through the valley of the shadow, enemies still let me shoot them arrow. Them one lead, them one make I follow. But God leads me through the path that's narrow. Wanna do your work, Lord, and that's facts. But this world never built like that. We still forgo to the uttermost. Wanna be like Aaron. I wanna be like William Booth. I wanna be like Prophet Dad and go tell them the truth. This one is highly confidential. See them no teach you for school. I wanna die doing your will, God, and what you want me to. Lord, I want you to use me. Make I tell somebody. Oh yeah, cause the world no tell a person. Oh yeah. I want you to use me, Lord. I want you to use. 1, 2, 3, zealous. We forgo to the uttermost, so them never go no. See plenty man say them really want go, but they never just go. Plenty man just them they talk too much. So Lord, I need your grace, cause I wanna be like Adoniram. I wanna be like William Booth. I wanna be like Prophet Dagler and go tell them the truth. This one is highly confidential. See them never teach you for school. I wanna die doing your will, God, and what you want me to. Lord, I want you to use me. Make I tell somebody. Just vibe to it, cause the world no tell the best. Oh yeah. See, I want you to use me, Lord. I want you to use me. I want you to use me. Make I tell somebody. Cause the world no tell the best. Oh yeah. I want you to use me, Lord. I want you to use me. Just vibe to it, baby, now. Make you vibe to it, baby. Make you vibe to it. K to the O, spreading love worldwide.
KOFI.
Yes.
Come and talk to me, bruv. Come and talk to me, bruv. Flipping it, coming out there and killing it on stage. What's going on, bro?
I'm good. How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know what I mean? Man, come on with them superstar glasses and all them stuff. You know when them come on stage and you can't see their eyes, you know? That's when you know that they're on some star status.
Nah, man.
Nah, you did your thing out there, bruv. You killed it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Killed it. How long you been in the game?
Just a year and a bit now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. Just a year and a bit now.
And how you finding? Oh, so basically, like COVID kind of slowed you down a bit on your progress.
Yeah, because actually, like COVID, everyone knows how COVID was, you know, and it was a bit of a downfall for us musicians and artists. But
1,000%.
you know, if you're meant to do it, you do it either way. You know what I'm saying? So nothing can stop me.
Just have to continue on.
Yeah, I'm still doing this.
Yes,
you know?
wicked. Now, you did 3 songs there. What's the name of the 3 songs?
So the first one was called No Weapon, and it's part of my Keep Your Head Above Water EP, which is out now, by the way.
Wicked.
You have Tomorrow Never Day featuring Zilla. Zilla, if you're listening to this, love you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, what he should have been here, like performing alongside you.
He should have been here, you know.
Zilla, Wagwan, Zilla.
Ask him.
Zilla, Wagwan, Zilla. You know what I mean? Send out the search party and thing.
Yeah, man.
And the third track?
The third track was off my highly confidential album, which came out last year in June. It's called Salt. And that's one of my favorite songs, actually. So, you know, if you're watching this, go check out Salt. Go check out Keep Your Head Above Water EP.
Wicked.
All of that.
Yeah, man. Plug them all. Plug them all.
Plug
All
in everything.
So, you've got an acronym for a name.
Yes.
Why the acronym?
Basically, KOFI stands for kind. I'm joking. I really don't know.
Okay, I was about to say, well, okay. Kind, official,
fantastic,
yes, and
incredible.
intelligent.
None of that, man. When I started music, I kind of was thrown into it because my first single, you know, I'd never stepped in a recording studio before. It was called Dunamis. And when I went there, I recorded it. I performed it in church. People were like, oh, nah, there's a vibe. You got to put on YouTube. We got to listen to it. I'm like, all right, I'll put on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, you know, I finished uploading the song, and I'm like, okay, what do I title myself?
Yeah.
I don't want to be called Kofi. Everyone's called Kofi.
Okay.
And, you know.
Is that your actual name?
Yeah, that's my actual name, Kofi. So the acronym is actually Kofi, but, you know, the stage name is KOFI.
Yes.
You know, that's how you pronounce it. And, so I just thought, you know what, okay, I'll just acronym it, you know, and just put KOFI. And, you know, it stuck on, and people wanted more. So I dropped just like that and just kept on dropping with KOFI, you know.
Now, let's do the rewind this. All right.
That was terrible,
with that
bro.
rewind, you have to forget that you actually said that you don't know why you called yourself that.
Yeah.
And then what we're gonna do right now is you're gonna make up.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna make up this acronym. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, King of something. You know what I mean? King of the fire industry or something like that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So just forget you said that, make up an acronym, and this interview, that part of the interview never existed.
Okay, cool.
All right?
Cool.
So basically, next time you had that interview, it's gonna be so much more interesting. And you know, when they ask you, say, why are you called King, blah, blah, blah? Because, bruv, I'm a king.
I'm a king.
I'm a king.
I'm a king of what though? What's the FI?
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna get to that.
I should just add that. Yeah. Cool.
So
cool,
anyway,
cool.
so you're gonna plug yourself now, bro.
All right, I'm gonna plug myself.
What have you got coming?
Right now, I just dropped "Keep Your Head Above Water" EP. It's 5 songs, 5 bangers, 5 new, fresh songs, never been heard before.
Okay.
And you know, that's a very interesting project because obviously we've gone through COVID and everything. So I wanted to give the people something to, you know, keep their head above water. Do you know what I'm saying? So Keep Your Head Above Water is out now on all platforms. Highly confidential album out now on all platforms. You can check me on socials, k.o.f.i official.
So that's on all platforms. It's k.i.f.i.
K.o.f.i and that's it.
Okay, no
you don't
dot
add
yet.
don't add any dot. You ruin it.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Bruv, k.o.f.i. Right? Let's give him a virtual round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Respect, bro. All right, we're going to hand over again. But before we do that, let's tell you how you can contact us.
Access all areas, your AAA pass to the music industry. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at AAA Seminars. On Facebook, fb.com/AAA Seminars. On LinkedIn, AAA Seminars. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Access All Areas Seminars.
Today, for the first time, we've been live on Twitch. And we're going to hand you back over to the one and only Lady T.
We are back. Thank you so much. Kofi, wow. Oh, sorry. K.O.F.I. That's it. Absolutely brilliant artist. I mean, the showcase that we've had today, fantastic. And if you're watching them for the first time, this is just a little snippet of what UK gospel is sounding like and also bringing out as well. There is so many more others, so make sure that you keep in touch with what they're doing and other artists as well. Okay, so the question, we're going to go back to the question that I asked in the first half, and I know Wisdom wanted to chime in, and there's so much more questions to get into. So Wisdom, do you want to quickly say what you wanted to say, and then I'm going to put a couple of Q&A questions to you.
Yeah, actually, just coming back on the point that I think Loretta was saying, I too have the similar experience of Governor B in that being a hip hop artist, there wasn't always this acceptance of you're a faith, of you're Christian. So what does that mean? And I even used to have this vision of the sort of MC Hammer, That's Why We Pray video in my head when I thought about Christian hip hop. So we had to change that ourselves. And as a result, what that meant for us was, you know, this real challenge of people understanding what it was. And I remember specifically, DJ 279 had the rap show on Choice FM. And we were, he kind of said he would never play sort of Christian hip hop on his station. So we tried to give him stuff, he wouldn't play it. And then what we ended up doing is they had a competition called 60 Seconds of Fame, where rappers would have to ring up and spit a verse for 60 seconds, and the best rapper got to continue on for the next few weeks. And if you did 4 weeks in a row, he'd bring you on the show. So I decided I would do it. And I won the first week, won the second week, third week, no one turned up to battle me. In the fourth week, the guy who came sort of messed up straight away. So I ended up going on the show. And I brought through Green Jade, and that was the first time that we got played on radio. And when we came and we played our stuff, from that point, it was all love. And that was how Zion Noise ended up on the radio. That's how Jahazel, a lot of other artists then sort of jumped off the back of that. And it did kind of take for us to actually show, no, we're actually good at this thing, to kind of shift people's minds. And, you know, it was mentioned earlier about Stormzy, and I think from a Green Jade point of view specifically, seeing him do what he did was very much the trajectory that we were trying to work towards. And that was, I actually took some young people to see Stormzy perform at the Brixton Academy, and it was amazing to see 7,000 people not only sing the words to Shut Up, but also sing the words to Blinded by Your Grace. And that was always a kind, because we'd come from a gang background, we come from the streets, we did a lot of anti-gun crime stuff. That was always really the passion for us, was to be able to be established in that place and be respected for who we are and talk about our experience. So it's been beautiful to see that development over the years.
Wow, amazing. So the guy fumbled his opportunity to battle you because wisdom was coming.
He flopped, man.
Well, because he flopped, you guys did your thing. And, you know, if he'd come and he did something good, we might not be here. Well, we would have heard of you, but it would just been different.
We're rocking it anyway.
All right, we've got some Q&A as well. We're going to go through the quick questions that have been coming on Twitcher, so keep the questions coming in. But before I go there, I wanted to put this to Audrey, Ayo, and Natalie. Why are the best vocalists in the country backing singers and not the main act?
I think I think because of the way they start out in the industry. If they started off as backing singers, I guess it could be quite comfortable to fall into that. And, you know, if you don't see being a backing singer is as good as being a lead. So you could be quite comfortable to be top of your game as a backing singer. So there would be no need for you to want to shift, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Not every backing singer aspires to be a lead singer and vice versa. So
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Natalie?
That's well, it's not that tough, but I think for mainstream music or pop music, it's about the songs. And the songs, if you're not a songwriter, the best songs get given to the people they think will sell the most, and that comes down to how they look as opposed to their age. You'll find a lot of you know, female vocalists start off very young. For one reason or another. I think they're easier to manipulate at a certain age. Yes, I think it does come down to the songs. And yeah, just a taste level. That's not to say the backing singers don't have taste. I mean, the songs don't always require, those number one records don't always require the best singer in the world, the best singer in the UK. They just require someone, especially like with maybe an interesting tone or we know a lot of amazing backing singers that would out-sing the person they're singing behind. They just don't have the song.
Yeah. And what about you, Ace?
You're asking me all the stressful questions, man. I couldn't possibly answer this in the time and space that the space of time that we have, other than to say that I think that Audrey makes fair points about not every singer, as amazing as they are, is an artist or even wants to be an artist. So that's the first thing. Natalie makes a very good point. And it's something that I've been really thinking on recently. I don't think it's an exclusive point though. I think there've been many amazing singers that have had amazing songs and they just haven't had the opportunity as well. But when we look at, like, let's go to the, like, some of the all-time top vocalists that we look at, your Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, we don't know them for writing their songs. We know them for delivering them. See what I mean? But then again, it's 2021. And for me personally, I feel like the music has changed. So the requirement is a little bit different. And vocally, the bar's definitely dropped. So the space, there's a lot more people fighting for the same thing. But then you look back in time where the bar was higher and we still were suffering the same I call them injustices. So that can't be the only reason, is the point I'm making. I think there's lots of factors involved. You can't escape stylistically. Like if you go back to the noughties and the 90s, stylistically, pop music was a lot more soul, R&B, gospel orientated, which means then that stands to reason, even from our question earlier and definition wise, that you would get mostly black people that could deliver it the best. So then it's no surprise from how the world is structured that a lot of those people weren't given opportunities, and we still have a massive issue, forget gospel, secular, whatever word you want to use, with black vocalists getting opportunity, period, point blank, even now. So as you can see, it will take me forever to really dissect your question, but I think everything that's been raised so far is kind of pertinent, to be honest.
And I'm going to quickly throw this to Charlene, because obviously of who you used to sing for, did at any one point, did you feel like, okay, so I'm singing for this great group? Did you still feel that you were front, that the lead, or did you still feel you were still the back end of the group? And did you ever aspire to, like, I want to do this as an artist for myself?
If you're talking specifically about Basement Jaxx, I did feel that I was in the front, yeah.
Okay.
I never kind of felt like a backing vocalist, but then as more vocalists joined, we would all do backing vocals for each other. So again, it was a family vibe. There was no kind of, well, you're more important than you, and everyone was just as important. The dancers were just as important as the singers, as the percussionists, as the drummers, like everyone was important. So again, that's not a typical experience though. It's usually the case that if you're a backing singer, you're getting changed in the toilet, and that's if you're lucky. Sometimes you just come dressed because you don't know if there's going to be anywhere for you to change, you know? So I think being a backing vocalist it's a different discipline than being a lead singer as well. And it's often harder than being a lead singer, because there's been times where I've been on stage with LaDonna, who's a good friend of mine who Io knows as well. And the lead singer will turn around and look at us for the first line of the song. So you have to learn the song. You got to know when the bass solo is. You got to know when the drum breakdown is. You got to know when the mid-late starts.
100.
You know what I mean? And you're just a backing singer, but you have to know the whole set, back to front. So when the MP3 goes down, or the this or the that goes down, they're ready just. You know, so it's not just as simple as, oh, I'm just a backing singer. Your backing singers are integral to performance, to artists being able to express themselves fully. You need to have people standing behind you. So even though it's considered a supporting role, it's a very important supporting role. So there's no wonder why people go, oh no, I'm quite happy supporting, because that's who I am. That's my nature. I want to support. I want to help you. So I've always been really comfortable as a backing singer, because I like to be. I can tell you what the second word of the first verse is, because I know your song.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. I got you. And that's the job of the backing vocalist. But people think if you're a backing vocalist, then you're nothing.
Yeah.
Fact, you're very important.
You kind of hold the set together, because without the backing vocalist,
at times, yeah.
It's like nothing can move or sound as good as you want it to. So yeah, they're just as important. Thank you for that. Okay, so one of the questions that came in from the Q&A from online, I'm going to put this to you, Clinton. How do we deal with that fear of our faith and the industry? Mute.
And yeah, and that's really how it happens, you know. Come on, lighten up.
Brilliant.
It's so interesting just listening to like the history of people's kind of work, from being a session singer to being something else and blah blah blah, or being a session singer and carrying it on and making, you know, being this big strong pillar in their industry. If I be honest with myself, going through all of those different worlds, one of the things that I realized that it was the money that was the compromise. The money that, for me, that in certain points of my kind of, you know, career, especially as a session singer, I got off of being a session singer quite early. I did quite a few of the big stuff, and then I kind of thought, okay, this is going to go round and round again. That was just for me. And I decided to transfer my skills into something else. But one of the things I realized is that with the world of music, we are in very much of a compromising situation, because we have our artistry, we have our creativity, we have, and then our spirituality, and then we have the administration of our business. And if any of those things are not in the correct proportion to each other, you come out with different variables. So you can have two session singers going in the same, I'm just using the session singer now, and the same path, but if those things are not in an even balance, the way they move and operate, and the successes and their failures are going to be somewhat different, and the way they react too. Now, when you're putting your faith into it, it's just funny, because it's hard enough just being a Christian musician or Christian singer or Christian artist or Christian anything, but being a Black Christian thing is because we are I think somewhat more than others culturally prohibited to do certain things, and some things are misassociated with actual cultural, or they're kind of, there's an ambiguity between cultural and religion and faith.
Yeah.
And so this is an independent journey for other people. Where what I did is I said, well, I'm going to take my compromise out of the equation, and I'm going to control my own money by my footsteps,
Right.
so that my faith can independently, freely move, and I can say yes or no. My dad's always said to me, be prepared to walk away and find opportunities at the same time, so that when one door is closed, then another door opens. And I think this is a big subject in terms of people that are in the creative arts, because by and large, our creativity kind of it overshadows our administration. And the administration to do things like being on time, like just answering emails, like doing, keeping things together. And I think that sometimes we then often say, well, we don't have the chance to do anything because the chances are taken away from us. And so I think if we get certain things in order too, but also not hinge one aspect solely on one aspect of our life. Music is my love, and that's why I decided to take it away from business, my music, my creativity, and also my faith. I decided to take that away from the music too. Now that sounds controversial, but when I release music that's gospel music, then it's unapologetic what it is. It's got also nothing to do with it's got nothing to do with the constraints of business. I release it because I want to, not because I have to. And so I can freely release an album whenever I want to and have to. Now, not everyone can do that, but if you start early enough and are consistent, then there are doors that can open up. And that's just my journey, and I'm not saying that's everybody's journey, But I think in, music, business, gospel, they have compounded positive effects and compounded negative effects when you add them together. And this is a big subject in itself. And you have to be able to divorce one of them from the other so you can look at them individually and see where I cannot compromise. I would like to say I would like not to compromise in my faith. So certain doors will shut, but then other doors will open. And I will take whatever I have to move into that place. I'm not an artist. I'm not a musician. I'm not any of that. I'm just Clinton Jordan. So whatever I want to do, I can do with the will of God.
Yeah.
And I know I'm kind of giving a big old rounded answer to it, but that's my journey.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question, John. I'm going to put this to you, O'Neill. Where do you think the direction of gospel music is going in the season that we are in? And that's another question from John.
It's really interesting. I was just thinking as well about the number of artists that we have come through in the last couple, even just the last year. Our database has over 600 artists, and that is UK-based artists, which is really interesting when you think of the number of people, especially coming out of a pandemic season, the number of people who are actually doing music. There's a lot. But what I've also found from talking to so many, I think I've spoken directly to at least half of that number of people, because we are intentional about touching base with people. How are you doing? What are you about? Where are the challenges? How can we serve? How can we help? And there is a confidence that I've come across with majority of the artists I've spoken to, where they know where they are. They know where they're trying to get to. They don't have this tug of war, if you will, between the faith and their music. They're in a place, having learned from those who have gone on before, seen the struggles. I mean, how amazing is this panel and the history that's here? Artists are out there who are watching these individuals, learning from the situations that they've been in, and they're coming with a confidence now to say, no, I know who I am. I don't need to navigate the four walls or outside the four walls. I am already out there. And I'm already out there doing my thing. And that's where God wants me to be. So I don't really have to worry too much about that. And I think that is exciting because, again, somebody on the panel mentioned, the Stormses, the Lecraes, all those guys who have gone out, who have opened doors, who have made the situation different. I mean, we are seeing now where gospel music, if you will, whether it's by Kanye, whether it's by T.I., whoever it is, there is a comfort with the message that wasn't there before. And the new artists coming in realize this, and they're not trying to think back to the days. They're like, oh, this is where it is. I'm making full use of this opportunity right here, right now. And that is where we needed to be. As a people, pushing the gospel message, that's where we needed to be. That's what people from back in the days, you hear the story of LCGC and the struggles they had, Green Jade with wisdom, you hear those struggles and you realize that those shoulders that we're standing on, they have been fighting to be in this space for a little while. So to be here or to be on this journey and to see that comfort, that's reassuring, man, because that says the future looks even brighter than we thought it did.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, so a question that's come up is how would you engage those that aren't necessarily Christian? How would you engage them in the music? Young people. So I'm going to put that to Richie, and I'm going to put that to Wisdom.
Okay, I'll go first. The music does the work. I don't know about anyone else, but for me, the music does the work. That's how you engage with them. As soon as you are singing or performing or delivering music that connects with them, that's the job done. What you're going to say after that is up to you. It's that simple, really. Use the music. That's the tool. I don't know much more to say than that.
Just to follow up on what Richie was saying, essentially that's what we did with Guns Down back in the day. So what happened for us we were actually performing in Birmingham the same night that Letitia Shakespeare and Charlene Ellis were killed. And we were driving back to London, just thinking to ourselves, like, what can we do? And I was speaking with a young person who I was mentoring. And we came up with this song called Guns Down, and I played it to him, and I was like, yeah, we're going to change the world with this. And do you know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, it's a nice song, but what difference do you actually think that's going to make? And it really gave me a pause. And it was just like, okay, cool. The music is the start, but there needs to be more. And at that point, we linked up with XLP, who were working in schools. And we said, right, we've got this song. Can we create something? So what we did was we created this Anti-Gun Crime Schools tour, which we toured for about 5 years. And that gave us a real chance to use our music as a platform to get to the core group of young people that we wanted to. Because, as I said, we started off as a gang in Clapham, and we really always wanted to be an encouragement to people who were like us, listening to Tim Westwood, smoking weed, watching Kung Fu films on a Friday night. And because that was always who our heartbeat was. And Guns Down really gave us an opportunity to do that. And we were blessed that, you know, at the time we were Choice FM's official schools activity. We had Boris Johnson, when he was mayor, came down, and, you know, and actually during that period of time, I wasn't say it was just us, the rate of gun and knife crime in the UK dropped from 2008 to 2011. And it was great to have been involved in that time. So for us, like, again, going back to what Richie was saying, using the music as the beginning of starting a relationship, that's how I found, and that's also been the driver for me with Talyard Impact. The music is the beginning of a relationship. I don't just do courses where you come for a day and then you go home. We're trying to build relationships. My business partner here is someone who I mentored from the time they were 14. They've been with me for 10 years now. You know, there's various other talent that we're working with, even the girls from Nostalgia. 2 of the girls from Nostalgia were part of XLP, and I've known for 9 and 8 years. So it's about building relationships and genuine relationships to support. And you turn to, I have found that that's been my way of connecting with the youth and then trying to bring them through.
I've always thought music as well. And then it's how you deliver it and how you then foster that relationship afterwards is the most important part. Because like music is the first thing that they're going to be like enticed to. Once you've done that, what's the next? What's the relationship building after that? And how are you talking to them? And what are you saying? What type of language are you saying for them to actually be, for them to understand and to, you know, to come on board with what you're trying to say. So yeah, I totally agree with you all. This question is for, I'm going to put this to Loretta and Audrey. Now, the Voice TV show, now it appears to be focusing on a lot of gospel voices because we've had a number of gospel artists who have taken part in the show. Do you think they know, or do you think they know how to market and develop them afterwards? I know the easy answer to that, but I'm gonna start with Audrey and then Loretta's point.
The easy answer is no. So none of them will ever win, because some of the best gospel artists have been on that show. But when they don't know how, I mean, mainstream is set up into compartments. If you can't fit into that compartment and I can't see how commercially viable I can make you, I'm not gonna bother. So those shows, listen, let's just go on to Loretta because I could feel it building up. I could feel it. It's about ratings, firstly. I think any gospel artist that goes on there must know themselves, because it could be very disheartening, especially when you have people effectively speaking over you that you're never going to make it, or the rest of that, the rubbish that goes with that. But yeah, they have to know themselves. But I think the reason why we're not winning is for that same reason. What do I do? How am I going to get my money back out of you? Do you know? Wow. Because bottom line is they poured a lot of funds into you. You know, you're told what songs to sing so they can collect the necessary royalties related to the songs that they publish. So all those other things, but how am I going to get that out of you? They don't know. And maybe, I mean, it's interesting that they've not bothered, or maybe they have, I don't know, they're not bothering. I know the times I've spoken to them, because I do get the odd call. Oh, I saw your artist and we think they're fabulous. Really? Which one? Okay, yeah. Which video was that then? And then, the conversation sort of pitters out because they realize it's just about numbers, or it's just about, You know, they've got a quota to fill.
Yeah.
And a story to deliver. So let's just see if we can get her on. I give them my peace of mind, and then they move on. So,
and I'm going to add this to you, Loretta. So why are they going after gospel artists as well? Is the first question that I asked. So the first question was, you know, do they know how to market and develop these artists afterwards after coming on the show? And why do you think they go after gospel artists?
Okay, so again, the answer is no.
Thank you.
And Audrey said it all. I think why they go for them, and what you have to remember is it's a TV show. Like if anyone joins one of those shows thinking it's going to make their music career, that's not the aim. It might be the aim of the person auditioning. That's not the aim of the people making the show. They're making a TV show. So there is a part of it in, because I get artists all the time saying, shall I go for it? And I say, no, do what you like, but no. I say that to everybody, because it's not a viable career option. Like it's not, even what it models in terms of the overnight success, that's not how you build a sustainable career as an artist. It's a lot of work. But there's one scenario where I do think, and I'll come to that in a minute, where I think it's worth going on one of those shows. So but you have, is a game, you have to play the game. But if you're going on there for a serious music career, then I just don't know why you would do it, really. But because I'm making a TV show, and at the end of the day it's about music, every now and then people need reminding that it's about music and it's about good voices. So where do you find good voices and good music? In the church. It always has been. All the best session musicians we've got are from the church, and all the best singers we've got in the UK have come from the church. So I mean, every single season, without fail, for every single one of the show, I get a phone call from someone, and initially it's, hi, I'm from so and so, I'm from a TV company, I want to speak to you about one of your artists. So it could be about anything, a radio interview about, you know, gun crime. So I take the call, because they know now, if they say to me, have you got anyone who we can put forward for The Voice or for whatever, I just say no, or I don't even pick up. And then they say, oh, we've really changed from when we last spoke to you, and we really want to, you know, and all this. And I was like, what's changed? And the contracts are crazy. They're like, I would never, as a manager in a million years, advise someone to sign it. So, but they need, it's always a great story to have the token gospel artist, and at the end of the day, they're always hands down the best singer. And there will be those people who watch it who love a good voice. Who doesn't love a good voice? And just like we alluded to earlier, there is something about when somebody sings gospel music, or when there's just a Christian sings, we know it's the Holy Spirit. People don't know that. So they do create magical moments on TV, and I think they don't really know what it is, but they know they need to have that person on each show. So that's why I think the gospel, somebody from the gospel field is asked every single term. The only time I think it's worth going on one of those shows, and the person who I think did that well to their advantage was Michelle John. And the reason I say that is because she's done everything. She's an amazing singer, and I really echo what Shah said earlier. It's a special talent to be a backing vocalist. It's never just a backing vocalist. In the kind of schooling that we had, we were told that as a backing vocalist, you have the most difficult job, because you have to blend, you have to seem like you're not there, and you're creating this bed for this front person. You're doing all the work to make them look good, and that's a skill in itself. But so I really respect Michelle. I think she's got an amazing voice. She's done everything, and she's done all of that, and then she's like, I'm gonna do my time. She can sing anyone under the table, off the table, off the stage, whatever.
Listen.
And when you've done that, and at the stage she was in her career, then why not use it, like play the game to get to a stage where you can be booked regularly for shows, because more people know who you are. You've already got the voice. She wasn't necessarily looking to get some #1 big tour or anything like that, but it certainly did raise her profile. And I think if somebody is, I would never encourage an emerging artist to go on one of those shows, but a seasoned artist is like, I've done all my bits and now I want this little boost to maybe then do my own tour. Maybe I'll get my own manager that I didn't have, or an agent, and I'll go and build a sustainable career. And I know who I am as an artist already. Only then might I say, yeah, it's worth it. Go and do it, even do it for a laugh, or do it just to, you know, boost your own following. But it's not a viable career route for an emerging artist, if you ask me.
So in essence, if you have some type of reputation and people know you and you want to get, I guess, extra exposure, then yeah, go for it. But as someone who's just starting,
They know you
not
in
the
one
best.
world and you want to be introduced to
To another world, yeah.
and play the game and use it.
Yeah, definitely. So if you're an artist, I hope you're taking notes and listening, because I think that was an absolute gem there. And which leads me to talk about musicians. Why are they so highly sought after? Because I'm sure between every single one of you, you can think of a musician who's Christian or who's a gospel artist who's played for countless of so many people. And I'm going to put this to you, Ayo. Why are they so sought after than session musicians?
Sorry, say the question again. Why is...
So why are musicians, like those, like, I don't know, maybe gospel musicians.
From the church?
Yeah. Why are they so sought after, do you think?
Why they so... because they... usually just like our singers are very well trained, have a deep love and a deep passion for music, and also quite frankly, if you're from a church background, you usually would have had a very rigorous training schedule, which included basically playing gigs 5 times a week from the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, whenever you can pick up an instrument and play, depending on what your church needed. So, and people don't think of it like that, but every service you play or every meeting you play is essentially a gig. So we gospel musicians or church musicians essentially get like a massive head start over many other people that maybe go to an institution to learn and only play recitals, or you know what I mean? Like go to a music school or something like that. We've been doing stuff since we were kids, multi-instruments as well. So that's why they're so sought after, because especially, I mean, it's becoming a lot more even now, but 10, 15, 20 years ago, the guys from the church basically could play anything that was on the stage. Basically, I mean, it's still like that. It's pretty scarily so. So yeah, that's the reason. So yeah, they use most effectively even on a business scale. If you got someone that can play all the instruments, I guess you don't need to hire anyone else. Essentially.
What's really funny is when, sorry, if I could just add to that, what's really funny is when you call someone for a gig and say, "Can you play?" and they go, "Which instrument? What do you want, babe? Is it drums? Is it keys? Is it guitar? Is it bass? You want me to sing? What do you want? I got it all."
100.
So basically, Christian artists, Christian musicians are very multi-instrumental. So
and experienced. Like church is intense. Like, let's not forget that. Yeah. So it's like, it's the most, like, it's going to be, sometimes church is more intense than any pop gig that you can imagine. I don't care how many people's there. You try sitting there and figuring out where Bishop's going to go. What key is it? Do you get me? You try figuring out what key Sister So-and-so is singing that hymn in, and where she transitioned to halfway through.
5 keys.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you got to go with, you know what I mean? Making up, like, improvisation, making up songs on the spot. If you're playing, like, let's take someone like Noel. I was like Noel's MD for 2 years. Like, half the time we went on with a song list, or I mean Basil as well. Like, the song list, what's that? As a singer or as a musician, you know what I mean? And anyone who's been in LCGC knows that rehearsals is one thing. You learn the gig on the stage.
Yes.
Because you've been rehearsing every Wednesday or whenever it is for years, and you get on the stage and it's like, what song is this? Everybody's like, come on. So like, anybody who's been in LCGC knows, it's like, yeah, rehearsals are one thing. On the stage is where you learn.
Yeah,
you cannot buy that kind of training and experience. You just can't.
Yeah.
And why does the church like frown upon musicians eventually being sought after and then going to play? Like, I mean, you've trained them in the church. You've wanted them to, they're now these great people, and people are now seeking them for their expertise. But then you frown upon them being, you know, touted to come and do something, especially when it's not in the church. Why has, that's always.
I do. I do. So like, if you're touted, if somebody's touted to go out, they can't be where you are anymore. And the only way to get them to stay often, as Charlene said, the worship team wasn't paying. So I don't know how else she's meant to. Yeah. Oh, lots. Lots.
That's terrifying. They were not paying.
So what it is that Charlene needs somewhere to live. So like she has to prioritize where the money's gonna go. So quite frankly put, and very shortly put, unless the church starts, and this is the church globally, I'm not talking about any one particular church, because there definitely is going to be like anomalies and anecdotal examples of something different, but unless the church starts honoring the people within it financially to stay, there will be no incentive for them to do so. It's kind of that simple.
And that whole thing, rewarding them financially, is another big issue, because you know,
girl,
that's a sore spot for a lot of people. Like the church.
I mean, I'm cool.
Paying them if you want to stay.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's really this simple. It's not about rewarding financially. There's a couple of things that are tied in between this, and it's a very bittersweet situation for anyone that is a laborer in the church, in the sanctuary. Yeah, the Bible says the workman is worth his meat. Yeah, he is worth being paid for. Now, it's just common sense. Yeah, and again, we're talking about administration. We're talking about business. God orders business. So when the church doesn't order their business right, I'm not picking on any other church. I'm not picking on any church. Yeah, because be careful. Jesus died for the church. So, but when the people that are in it don't run their things correctly, it's a violation against God himself. So you got to understand, it's no wonder things start to spoil, and we get the back end of it, these people that are the musicians and stuff. And we are, if we be honest with ourselves, we become bitter towards the thing that Jesus died for. And it's a very dangerous place to be in, because now you've got to now reassess how your bitterness is translated towards the body of Christ or towards the church. And you know, we all have had these conversations as musicians. How do we process that whole thing? Yeah. Paying people is just a simple thing. People that are in authority cannot be upset when someone leaves and votes with their feet, because they need to live. They need to do stuff. And you're holding people over with an emotional blackmail to hold them into a place to worship a God which they put their heart and mind in. That there's a fine line between the prophetic and witchcraft. And that's dangerous.
Ooh, drop mic.
Locks. And I did it for him.
No.
Do you know why? I know we laugh about this.
It's deep.
But this one I don't laugh about, because let me say this to you. Everybody here wants to please the Lord. Everyone wants to please. Everyone wants to meet Jesus. But when our path to meeting Jesus is contaminated, and we have to start making compromises the way we administer our artistry, administer our creativity, administer our stuff, it starts to be twisted, and we start to be twisted. And we have to be careful the way we speak to other people about the gospel of Jesus Christ. Gospel music is a side thing that came onto the gospel of Jesus Christ. So our creativity is a byproduct of the manifestation of the spirit of the inaudible. And so that frightens me when it comes to this situation, that I've got to start to be
trying to cover my bitterness because someone didn't get their accounts right. Dangerous. And the Bible says you will be accountable for the things that you do. So, you know, I laugh and joke with this bit, but this is the bit where if we're not careful, our bitterness will take over and be, it's not
I get that.
It's not a funny thing.
I just wanted to jump in on, I just wanted to jump in on the back of that. Because I think as well, I think sometimes some of us have grown up with a little bit warped understandings of money and how life works. For me, I developed an understanding that there are, as Clayton was saying, there are two separate things. I remember specifically having a very heated debate with my wife at one point where she said to me, name me one thing in this house that Green Jade has paid for. And I couldn't look around my house and go, for the hours and the years that I put in, couldn't look around my house and go, Green Jade paid for that. And it was because I kind of had this thing in my mind that, like, as Clinton was saying, the other side of it is the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and he'll take care of me and I'll get sorted and stuff like that. But it didn't allow me to take responsibility for my life and the fact I have a family and I have a mortgage and I have a house and I have various other bits and pieces. And as much as I want to do the thing that I'm doing, and I am being blessed in it, I can't necessarily say just because I'm good at this that people are going to throw money at me. And I didn't have that understanding. And I had to develop into that understanding. And I think sometimes that was where a lot of bitterness for people came from, was actually, and this is one of the things I very much try and teach younger artists now, is sort out how you make your money and how you're going to live. It may not always come from your musical passion.
There you go.
And that's fine. But that doesn't also mean you need to stop your musical passion. It just means it might need to exist after 6 p.m. and not have the expectation that I'm going to be Jay-Z off of this, which is weirdly what I had at the time, where I was in a British MC from a Christian background, where at the time gospel wasn't making any money and hip hop wasn't making any money. So I don't know where this money was going to come from. But it meant that once I took a step back and said, oh, I've got the responsibility of looking after my family. Cool, right. This is how we're going to move forward. And that was a real eye-opener for me.
Wow. The fact that you can answer the question your wife asked, it says a lot. And I guess it's about having multiple streams of income as an artist.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't just rely on just the music. And if you're coming into it thinking, I'm going to make, you know, £10,000 from this one song, you might see that in about 40 years. But you need to have multiple streams of income to be able to support you, because, you know, times have changed from way back then, and you can't just rely on one income. Even if you don't do music, even as just someone who does a regular 9 to 5, you still have to have another source of income to be coming in, because you just can't rely on just one. It's just the way the world is at the moment. And Wisdom touched on, no, actually, Loretta touched on this earlier about Stormzy. And the question is this: is Stormzy the UK's biggest gospel rapper, and what could other Christian rappers learn from him? So I'm going to put that to people's eyes are rolling. Like, I'm going to put that to Loretta, and then I'm going to ask Richie as well to chime in on that.
Just repeat the wording of the question for me, T, again.
So the question is Stormzy the UK's biggest gospel rapper, and what could other Christian rappers learn from him?
Okay, well, I don't think he's a gospel rapper. I mean, I hate that term anyway. Like,
thank you.
Gospel, whatever. Like, I think, you know, we've come along. An old analogy that people used to use is, you know, would somebody call themselves a Christian plumber, because they're a plumber or whatever. And I get, with the discussion we're having, we're talking, and this is what I was referring to earlier when I was talking about the labels, because we know what we're talking about when we say gospel music, and we're talking about people whose music is specifically perhaps started as ministry, and it may have turned into a career. Like we said, everyone needs to eat, they need to pay their bills, but it's music that is talking about the Christian faith usually. So it's a bit of a confusing question, because I just don't think it's actually a relevant question. Yeah. Yep. Because I think Stormzy's a rapper, we all know that, and he did a song that was a gospel song. And that's fine, in the same way that I think it's absolutely fine for a gospel rapper whose, you know, catalogue of music perhaps has been to the church for Christians to suddenly do a song that's about their girlfriend, or that's not about that. And sometimes people are like, whoa, you know, what are you doing now? You've stepped outside of that. I think we're called to be humans. As Christians, we're called to be humans who are carrying our faith around with us. And that is going to come through in whatever we do. And that will be how we do business deals. That will be how we present ourselves on tour, how we present ourselves when we're booked for a radio interview, how we treat the people that are around us, as well as what we're saying explicitly in our music. So I think the only thing that would be great to learn from Stormzy is to give people permission to stop categorizing themselves and to just get on with doing great art and being authentic Christians and what that looks like to you. I know with different journeys of my own faith, it might look like I'm less of a Christian to some people than I was when I was in a Christian band, you know, calling kids to come forward and give their life to Jesus. Personally, I know my faith's more authentic now than it's ever been. And I just wanted to refer back to the question about the fear of working. I think it's something about how do you balance the fear of working.
Yeah.
I just don't feel a fear of working in an industry. I think it's hard being a Christian, whatever job you do. I think it's hard being a human, to be honest. And I think our job to be here is to work out how we do that authentically. Yeah. What's difficult is when somebody's holding you up on a certain pedestal and pointing out every time you're making those mistakes, which is a part of being on a journey. And of course, if you're an artist in particular, you are on a pedestal, and there is a responsibility that comes with any role of leadership or any role. But to say that you can't get it wrong, or I think the fear from the church comes from they don't want to see people fail or to give a bad name to the faith. But to be honest, the church does that very well by themselves a lot of the time in terms of being hypocritical. So I think our role is to just be authentic. And I think if we can learn something from Stormzy, it's what a person who is so authentic to the music that they created that no label wanted to give Grime a platform. Nobody wanted to touch that. So he's like, I'll do it anyway. And then, of course, when it all blows up, when it comes from the streets in the same way that gospel music came from the church, suddenly everybody wants to take a piece of the pie then, and they wants to start owning it. And I think that's going back to what Audrey said earlier. Where a music has come from, they're the ones who should decide how it's categorized and where it goes to. So people who are doing grime from day one should get to say who owns it, not, you know, a bunch of record industry people who don't even know what grime is. In the same way that gospel music and what happens with that as an industry shouldn't be decided by people who aren't from the church and don't have that background.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered the question or just ranted.
No, you there were some great points there. You did both, and it was great. So thank you very much for that. So I've got two more questions, two really important questions I need to ask, but before I ask them, Richie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you summed that up very well, Loretta. We need to get out of the boxes, you know, all the boxes labeled with categories. We just need to mash up the box then, basically. Just mash up the box then. See? I believe that, you know, Stormzy is probably the biggest rapper in the UK, but he's a person that went through probably some deep stuff, and he realized that he got through it by holding on to the Lord, and he wrote a song about that, his deepest feelings and darkest feelings at that time. He glorified God for that experience that he believed God drew him through and brought him through. And people are holding on to that. Like when in the next breath, he's got songs about battling with somebody else, but they're not talking about, is he the best battle rapper? It's just somebody wrote a song about his feelings that happened to be related to God. And that's how it should be. He should be free to do that. You know, we don't need to put a label on that. It's an awesome song from, you know, an experience that he has shared with the world in an authentic manner that has touched the world. And that's awesome. We just need to continue to be able to do that. All of us, all artists, songwriters, singers, musicians, we should just be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so important question now is this. What do you think is the way forward for acts, especially gospel acts or who operate under Christian or gospel? What is the way forward for them if they want to develop mainstream careers? I'm gonna put that to Charlene Loretta because of the acts that she's currently working with, because they are literally in that field at the moment. So I'm gonna put that to Charlene, Loretta, and Audrey, and Natalie as well, because you're currently in that space as well. So we'll start with you, Charlene.
I think that's a tough question because people confuse fame with success. And people think that they're one and the same, and they're not. So I think if you strive to be successful rather than to be famous, then you're going to win. So something I wanted to say earlier, when you talked about being a backing singer and how that's, why wouldn't you want to be out in the front? Your passive income as a backing singer can sometimes be greater than the artist you're working for, because that artist only gets passive income from the stuff that they do. You get passive income from singing on that person's record, on that person's record, on that person's record, and you're able to spread yourself around a lot more than if you're an artist. Sometimes when you're an artist, you can only work with people from the same label as you. You're not allowed to work with someone from Sony if you're signed to Island, or I think everyone's the same now, isn't it? But I think for me, I would say to anybody that wants a career, seek to be successful. Don't necessarily look to be famous, and write songs, just write. That's what I would say.
Okay. Natalie?
So like what's my advice to anyone that wants to?
Yeah, so what do you think the way forward is for, gospel acts who want to develop mainstream careers?
I think if you're a gospel act in the definition that you read out at the beginning, which is about it being about your faith and being a Christian, then like realistically your audience is a lot smaller than the mainstream anyway, because we're talking about music that people that might already have faith too and are Christians too. So I don't know if the question even fits the problem. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're talking about mainstream, but if you're really, the question is, where's your audience for that type of music? And so I totally agree with what Charlene said, but I think focus on finding your audience. And if that's a network of churches or a network of Christians, where are they? And I wouldn't necessarily say that's the same thing as the mainstream music or popular music has an audience. And so my genuine advice is something that Clinton kind of said really broadly as well, is just you have to start making decisions about what you want to do. If your goal is to make music and to have a successful career in the music industry, there's loads of ways you can do that. If you want to be famous and be the star singing gospel music, then your audience, I think, is a little bit more limited than, say, someone that wants to be a famous singer of any other genre of music. Yep. I think you just have to have there's some real conversations to be had, but actually the message and your intention when you're delivering a song or any piece of music is the most important. And I think what I do with House Gospel Choir, or what loads of DJs, songwriters and producers that I love to listen to, is the message is the most important. And their job isn't necessarily to bring anyone to church, it's to create a conversation around faith and spirituality that isn't being had in the mainstream. Yeah. And people can say that they are atheists or they have no faith and that they're just good people. Those good people, those ideals about what makes us good come from the Bible. Yeah. Like this country was a faith, you know what I mean? Like
faith-based country. Yep.
It's a faith-based country. So even those ideas where people are like, oh, well, I'm not a Christian, but I know how to be a good person. The reason you know how to be a good person is because a lot of that information was shared when this country wasn't a secular country. Yeah. So I personally think that conversation gets really muddy. Mm-hmm. And just isn't being had more broadly. It happens when people are drunk or high at 3 a.m. in the morning. after a rave or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you have very deep existential conversations about where we all come from and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think people are craving those conversations. Like, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go to Audrey and then finish off with Loretta because we're running out of time.
Okay.
Audrey?
I think this is one of the questions that come up a lot when I do consultancy work with artists, and they say they want to write songs or release songs that can cross over, like just do good songs. How about that? Let's just try to do good songs. So you're a gospel artist and you're a Christian. So if you say that you want to do mainstream work or you want to do songs that cross over, then just become a Christian doing mainstream songs. What is it? Pop? What is it? R&B? What is it? Look at your message. And if you're, like Natalie was saying, if your message rings true to yourself, then there's a freedom in your creativity to do that. Do you know what I mean? So I think artists need to know themselves, and they need to know that, is this message that I'm going to be delivering now, is this going to mess me up as a person? How am I going to be able to handle those arenas when I get put forward for an interview? Can I answer that question as to why all of a sudden you're dropping it like it's hot? We want to know the answers, so just prepare yourself, really. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And Loretta?
I think everyone's made a really great point so far, but I would agree, if the question is how to be a successful gospel artist, I would say it's really difficult in the UK to be a successful gospel artist if your audience is for Christians, and mainly because of the conversation we had before, that Christians don't like paying for things. And there's that really difficult thing of, well, it's ministry. The Lord told me to book you for our event. Well, the Lord also wants me to eat. You know, it's that whole thing. So it's difficult because we don't have the structure here in the UK to support a gospel career like in the US, where there's Christian and gospel charts, where, you know, people have very big houses, are able to live very successfully from their gospel music. We don't have the structure in the UK to support that. So the only other alternative, exactly what Audrey was just talking about, is to be an independent artist. And I think it's an amazing time to be an independent artist. And if you're going to do that, exactly what Audrey said, just concentrate on doing great music. If your music is, you want it to reach Christians, to be for the church, that's a different thing. But if you're a Christian who just wants to make music, just get on with being a great artist. And if some of your songs talk about your faith, because you'll be speaking about all your life, it's fine. And what a better time, we've got more permission, if you like, permission to do that. There's more opportunity to be able to do that, and for nobody to think that's weird or to be blocked or to be frowned upon. But if it is that you want to be a gospel artist, then perhaps you need to move to the US if you want to be able to pay your bills out of that, because there's not many people who have been able to do that. Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you both. It is really about making good music. Like, what are you writing? And if it's good, it will get played. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm really surprised at how people like Governor is getting played. You have, you know, likes of Asher Elliott as well. And I'm like, wow, this is great to see finally music that we can hear on a daily basis, you know, gospel being played on One Extra. So it can be done, but it just has to be really good, because for a very long time, and I think in the comments someone did make it, UK wasn't really making good music. But there's been a shifting, there's been a huge shift somewhere. I don't know when it happened, but now the music is getting better.
But I would also add on to that, like, I think one of the things for me which is so great about this panel was having a house gospel choir and kingdom choir here, who are two choirs, which is a very traditional Christian gospel thing that exists in the mainstream incredibly well, and are really pushing the envelope as to what that is. And, you know, watching it and having gone to a number of their shows, specifically with like the house gospel choir, and just jamming and knowing where it comes from and seeing the reaction that it has, it's like, this is what I've always wanted to see. And in a similar way with Kingdom, Clinton, and all that they've done since the royal wedding and how they've moved, I think, you know, they're actually challenging the music industry that's used to only having at most 4 members of the band. It's like, how do you have represent a choir properly that is existing in the mainstream. And I think these guys are complete trailblazers within that, and it is beautiful to see.
So last couple of questions that would just come through real quickly. Is success measured by the ability to make hits in mainstream charts? Who wants to answer that?
Could you repeat the question, please?
It says, is success measured by the ability to make hits in the secular charts?
About selling units. Making hits is part of that, but it's about selling units. That's the onus of a label, really. Is can you sell units based on whatever good songs they give you to go and deliver, or the songs that you generate?
I'd sorry, can I? I'd say,
yeah, go, Natalie.
Success, you have to define it for yourself. Like genuinely, like it's success is a byproduct of doing something well. So if you keep doing something well that you love over and over again, you're going to get better at it by virtue of how things work. So at some point you will be very good at it, and by your own definition of success, you can be successful in anything. I wanted 1,000 streams. I wanted to sell out one show. Those were so everything else is bonus. Do you know what I mean? To my mind, I might be delusional. To some people, I am very successful. But have I had another number one record? No. So you have to define it yourself, and you have to keep working. It's a byproduct. It's not the point.
Yeah.
And if I could add to that, I think that, I think that success is relative. I completely agree with what Natalie is saying. It's a relative thing. To me, success is being able to pay my rent from singing. I'm the biggest success that ever lived because I can do that. And that's what I think. Do you know what I mean? So again, to someone else, success might be having a family and being able to support that family with music. It might be buying mummy a house. It might be never living on the streets again. But that's only something you can determine.
Yep, absolutely. So we're about to wrap up this session, and it's been absolutely phenomenal for each and every one of you being on this panel. Like, there's been so much that has been said, lots of gems. So in rounding up, how can artists navigate their faith in this industry, you know, when going into the mainstream industry? Because obviously, Nat, you're in mainstream, you're a Christian doing great things. Ayo, you're doing the same thing. Clinton, you're doing the same thing. What would be your advice? I just want to get everybody quick, 30-second sort of gem or tip for artists to navigate in their faith in mainstream and how to do that. Sorry. So we'll start off with Ayo and then...
Yeah, all right, cool. I'm going to be quick. I still see myself as quite young. But in the years I've been on the earth, I would give the same advice to somebody in music that I give them in life. Be authentically you.
Simple. Richie?
I would agree with that. You just got to be yourself. You can never everyone's never going to love you. So you just got to do what you do in the way that you do it and reach the people that you're supposed to reach, because who I'm supposed to reach is not the same person who's supposed to reach, who my guys, everyone who's supposed to reach. Because like I do reggae music, so I'm going to reach the heart of somebody who loves reggae music that much easier than somebody who does house and garage or R&B. It's just that simple. So just be yourself and do what you're supposed to do. That's
okay. Anil?
Yeah, I'll jump in with something that Yinka from UK Gospel keeps saying, and it's such a big statement that I'm just going to mention it. You know, just keep on creating compelling products. That's it. And Audrey mentioned it about great songs, man. They will travel, right? And if you're, as Aya said, if you're authentic, if you're true to yourself, if you're not measuring your success by somebody else's standard, then wherever you need to be, you will get there eventually. And Loretta mentioned about this is not a quick fix. If you're serious about it, be prepared to go the long haul, be authentic, create compelling products, and in time, you'll get there.
Charlene?
I think in terms of navigating your faith in the industry, my number one tip would be learn the sound of God's voice for yourself. Because somebody else will say, God told me this and God told me that. And you can say, actually, I spoke to him 5 minutes ago and he said this to me. So, you know, it's better that,
Surely.
but it's learn God's voice. Because I remember when I started growing my dreadlocks, my mum was like, the Lord told me. I was like, well, actually, I spoke to God about my dreadlocks and it's actually a form of worship. So what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? That would be my number one tip. Learn God's voice for yourself.
Okay, Clinton.
Sorry, it's just when Charlene went into God's voice, I was like, he speaks like that to you?
Yes, he does.
Sure.
I'm playing. Love you, Clinton.
Listen, faith without works is dead. I hear a lot of faith talking. I hear a lot of, lots of people come to the studio and say, God told me to do this. God told me to do that. And I'm like, okay, I say, God told you to pay this.
That's right.
And I say it in a tongue-in-cheek kind of fashion. I say it in a tongue-in-cheek kind of fashion because, God's business is business. I think people are missing that. There's music business, but there's actually business first, then music. But God's business is business first, and then all the byproducts and stuff come along from that.
Right.
So the person you need to ask about your business is God. So I can't navigate my faith. I have to ask God to navigate it for me, so he can lead me in the paths of righteousness for his name. And anyway.
Amen to that. Natalie.
Sorry, just to mirror, I think what almost everyone said, faith to me is your own personal relationship with God. So I've had Christians saying, oh, you lot are wearing sequins and dancing in front of gay people like for money. Like it's not anything to do with anybody else. Like everyone's going to have their judgments, but your faith, just be right with yourself and God. Like, and no one, people will say all kinds of things to you, but faith is your personal relationship, and just do that diligently and everything else will follow.
Yeah, definitely. Audrey?
Yeah, I mean, has some great feedback there from everybody. That's amazing. I think the only other thing that I would add is that being an independent artist doesn't mean being alone. So do seek out the advice of others. Yes, you have to consult with God as well, but do seek out the advice of others and communicate with people that you believe have a good ear, that have a good understanding of the industry, etc., and take those things on board to help grow your career and or ministry, however you want to say it.
Yeah, definitely. Loretta.
I think my advice to any artist is always 3 things: to be excellent, be consistent, and be persistent. And I think if you're those 3 things, you really will get whatever your definition of success is. But when it comes to faith, for me, the thing that's just helped me the most, because it just helps me in life, is to have people that I know who are my day ones, who really, really know me, people who have got permission to speak into my life, but they've done the walk with me, not just someone who's turning up. I think there are some unique things about this industry we work in, and it very unique strains on your mental health, in terms of suddenly people who want to be your best friend when you get a certain measure of success and all of those things. So I think it is important to guard a small circle of people you really trust, that you can speak to when you're struggling in whatever it is, but also who have got permission and have paid for it to challenge you when you need to. And that's been the thing that's helped me in my faith the most. I don't belong to a church, but I have definitely got a church of friends. Charlene's one of them, who will tell me about myself if I need to be. And there's not many people who are brave enough to do that to me, so, and I need it.
Love it. Okay, and then final word, wisdom.
I think on top of what everyone else has said, which has been fantastic, I would say be brutally honest with yourself about what you want. Write that down, ask that question to yourself and go through it. And because I think if you want mainstream success or you want to be a household name, that's fine. Just know that that's what that is, and know that that's what you want, and then work to achieving that. There is no problem with that. I think the issue sometimes comes when we're not honest with ourselves, and I just want to do this for the Lord, and I want to do it quietly, but I really want to be paid this much. It's like you've got to make a decision and decide, So, that along with just being and that's how I think you help to find your authentic self. What is it that I want and why do I want it? Those are two really important questions for artists to be able to ask themselves. And just in closing, just want to just say thank you. This has been an amazing panel, and I'm inspired by every single person who is on this. So thank you so much for your wisdom and for contributing on behalf of AAA. It has been fantastic having all of your voices here.
Thank you so much for that wisdom. The what and the why is the most important thing to ask before journeying into this. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the panel. Thank you for your, again, your input, your wisdom, the gems. Absolutely brilliant. I appreciate you all. Again, you are looking at royalty, UK music. They've been doing their things for so many years and they continue to do so. Thank you all so much. And until the next one we have, I'm sure it's going to be bigger and better, have more of a bigger audience at the time. But thank you all so much for being on the panel and for the discussion. It's been fantastic. And I hope it's helped you at home as well, whether you're an artist or a practitioner of some kind in music. I hope all that has been discussed today has given you something to think about and also to work on as well. So with that said, I'm going to hand it back to the one and only DJ Longers for our last showcase of the evening and some more music. Whoop, whoop.
DJ Longers, your resident host and DJ of Access All Areas.
Thank you for handing me back. And we've got another artist to come on stage who's actually going to tear it up in just a little while. But let's just hear a word from our sponsors yet again.
Welcome to Access All Areas. New artists performing live, informative panels, and networking sessions, giving the full 360 on the music business. Access All Areas. We are your AAA pass to the music industry.
Now, that's just in case you didn't know what we're all about. But yet again, if you want to get in contact with us, if you want to be one of the people who actually perform, or if you just want to know more about us, just get in contact.
Access All Areas, your AAA pass to the music industry. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at AAA Seminars. On Facebook, fb.com/AAA Seminars. On LinkedIn, AAA Seminars, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Access All Areas Seminars.
So that's basically it. On all platforms, Access All Areas Seminars. Sorry, AAA Seminars, that is. AAA Seminars. Oh, I almost messed that up myself. We're going to play one song, and then we're going to bring on our last act who's going to tear up the stage.
Have a feeling something's broken. Can we have a conversation?
DJ Longers. DJ Longers.
The L, the O, the N, the G, the E, the R, the S. DJ Longers. I think that we need to fix us. Oh. Let's find a way, let's find each other. We can start to take the mask off. We can turn the lights back on.
DJ Longers.
We brought this life together. Coming closer makes it clearer. Finally, I see all of you and me, who we're meant to be. Can you see? I see nothing's beautiful. You hold me, I'm holding you. Even when our days are blue, we still paint it.
Our last act is coming. We've got one more song and then we're going in.
But a man above the one I serve can't change what's happened yet. But of course I did get hurt. Real life soaked up in these words. DJ Longers. Maybe you don't see it like I do, but I got hope right now. I have hope. And in the lesson, so many blessings. I'm falling to soaring, yeah.
We got a small hold up, but he's coming. He's coming on the stage in just a second.
AAA, access all areas.
Like I said, it's a very small hold up, but he's coming on the stage in just a second.
It all started for me when I started to read and I opened the Bible to Psalms 23. I choked up and I started to weep because I knew it was the Lord that guided me. Way back when I used to play hide and seek, used to say my prayer every night of the week. Back when we couldn't even have rice and peas. Now I...
So the big shout's going out to Kirk Edwards. That was that song just a second ago. All right. Now, this one, it feels a bit weird. I'll tell you why it feels a bit weird in just a second. Let's introduce.
It's time to drop knowledge. Your Access All Areas panel begins now.
Hold on, that was actually the wrong one.
Triple...
Let's do this properly. Let's do this again.
Access All Areas New Artist Showcase. We are the home of new UK music. The next artist to perform on the AAA stage is...
And this is why it feels weird, because this guy is not new. He's actually a legend, okay? Let's welcome to the stage, give a virtual round of applause for the one and only Richie Dan!
Greetings, everyone. I can't hear this. It's kind of like, is it okay out there? Can you hear it?
We can hear you, bro.
Okay, cool.
We can hear you.
I'm just going to warm up my voice a little bit, if that's okay. Yeah? Lord, you know that my intentions are good, and I try to do the things I know I should, but sometimes I find that I get led astray by the desires of my heart. So I bow down on my knees and I repent. And my humble apologies to you I extend. And time again, you forgive and you forget, even though you know that I'm gonna come up short again. Oh Lord, I give you praise. And I thank you for your goodness and your grace. Oh Lord, I give you praise and glorify your name in this place. Boom! All right then. Run the first track for me, please, Langers. Nothing less than life. Oh! So glad that I'm in you. Nothing less than life. I won't settle for nothing less than life. Nothing, you, nothing. All right. Without you, I am nothing, Lord. Without you, oh, what's the use of going on with my life? Oh Lord, if you're not in it, when I need you here right now to help me make it to the finish. See, there's a lot going on inside of me. My flesh is trying to rule and steal my peace. Holy Spirit, are you hearing me? I'm standing here, I declare and I decree that I will settle for nothing less than life in you. Oh Jesus, nothing better than knowing that I'm alright in you. Alright. I was so out of touch. My life was all about me. Oh, yes, it was. And it blows my mind how you could love me so much
that you would die to set me free. But when I came to the end of myself, I began to see that you're my ever-present help whenever I'm in need. And I won't settle for nothing less than living my life in you. Oh Jesus, nothing better than knowing that I'm safe and sound on solid ground in you, Lord. Say that I'm alright. Yes, Jesus, I say that I'm an alright. Yes, Jesus. Wanna like that? Can I hear you? Yeah, me love it too. Watch out, Ola. Said there's a war going on inside of me. My flesh is trying to rule and steal my peace. Holy Spirit, are you hearing me? I'm standing here, I declare and I decree that I won't settle for nothing less than living my life in you. Nothing less than nothing better than knowing. Nothing better than knowing that you're safe and sound on solid ground in you, Lord. Said I'm safe and sound on solid ground in you, Lord. I said I'm safe and sound. I know that I'm safe. 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 I know that I'm sound. And my feet are on solid ground. Nothing better than knowing. Nothing better than knowing. Nothing less than life. Nothing less than life. I'm alright. Ah, gosh. Thank you. All right, so what? Are you ready to get little lively now? All right, so let me give you a little some. Because what I was saying earlier, yeah, I don't know if whoever's online, if you missed this part, but sometimes I get excited and you can't hear what I say. So hear this now, first. I got my main priority straight, now I'm cruising. I know there's no chance of losing. Check out the way that I'm moving. Every day I'm improving. My confidence is oozing. This gift of eternal life that I've been blessed with. I'm gonna tell anybody who's interested, cause of the power that the Lord has invested. I'm not the kind of man for Lucifer to mess with. I'm not muscle bound, no, I'm not a he-man. But I will trample upon a serpent and demon. And I'm a footnote, that feels so good, yo. Oh, well, I guess another demon gone, another problem erased. Covered in the blood of Jesus, and that gives me the grace to look up in a Satan face. Bind him and gag him and put him in his place. And I shall run this race. And even if me come in second place, well, I want you listen to me good and just remember that I told you me have a reservation in the winner's enclosure. Used to be a sinner man, now I'm a winner man. Born again, me have a much bigger plan. Jesus Christ, my light and my salvation. Servant of Christ, yep. I encourage you to pray. All day, every day, you know, hear what me say. Pray right away, we don't deal. Yeah! Hey! I know you know, we don't want to have a big crowd in here, so yeah, but I don't want to go and posh. Because you have to give me some vibes, yeah, still? See? So if you get the vibes and you want to pull up, we just say, pull up. And we do that for the Lord. And even online, you can type it in. There's a P, about 6 U's, and then 2 L. You get me? And an up. Yeah, pull up. Even online, it can work. See? Pay attention to that. And if them say pull up online, you have to pull up. See? All right, then. Run this next track again. This one named Jesus Rules. First time I use this track, you know. Yeah, you hear me? Somebody play me can stay upon it. Me say them love that track, yeah. What's that on? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I can't hear you. Say yeah. I'm gonna put my Lord upon a pedestal. When I worship God, I know I'm not a fool. Me no business at all if me look and cool. Long as my Jesus rule. Who that disrespect me and treat me cruel. Gonna tell it in the workplace, tell it in a school. My God of the universe has footstool. Jesus Christ, He rules, yeah. I don't really care if you agree or disagree. My brother, you will just have to be to disagree. All I can say is just wait and you will see which one of us will be free here. Free like a bird up in the tree. Free like the fresh morning dew and the summer breeze. Like the little caterpillar, them and the honeybees. Christ has set me free indeed. I'm gonna put my Lord upon a pedestal. When I worship God, I know I'm not a fool. Me no business at all if me look and cool. Long as my Jesus rule. Could that disrespect me and treat me cruel? Can I tell it in the workplace, tell it in a school? My God of the universe has footstool. Jesus Christ, yeah, me now. Every single one of us under the burning sun. No matter where you been, friend, or where you come from. No better with. Hold on, take a look, take a look, take a look. Low, don't stop it, just take a look. Every single one of us under the burning sun. No matter where you been, friend, or where you come from. Don't ever let nobody tell you you don't belong. We are brothers and sisters and daughters and sons. It's not my job to persuade you, but if you love me, then I will serenade you. And I will sing about the God that I pray to, the God that made me and made you. But if you decide to do what they do, well, you receive the same judgment that they do. But if you're fed up and you're looking for a breakthrough, then let me tell you about how Jesus can save you. Up on a pedestal. When I worship God, I know I'm not a fool. Be no business at all if me look and cool. Long as my Jesus rule. Could that disrespect me and treat me cruel? Can I tell it in the workplace, tell it in a school? My God of the universe has footstool. Low. Just to let you know, me now just fashion off. Just to let you know, me not just follow fashion. Definitely, I am a new creation. I will seek righteousness and I rebuke Satan. And turn my face away. Low. Bring it up. Bring it up. Me miss it, look what. Miss it a little bit there. Watch out now. Alright, me have it. Just to let you know, me not just follow fashion. Definitely, I am a new creation. I will seek righteousness and I rebuke Satan. And turn my face away from temptation. The wailing and the gnashing of the teeth, bring it come. Bring the fire, the blood and bring the brimstone come. Me not gonna stop praise until this world done. For the blood of Jesus, it is my protection. I'm gonna put my Lord upon a pedestal. When I worship God, I know I'm not a fool. Me no business at all if me look and cool. Long as my Jesus rule. Coulda disrespect me and treat me cruel. You coulda disrespect me and treat me cruel. You coulda disrespect me and treat me cruel. You coulda disrespect me and treat me cruel. I'm gonna put my Lord upon a pedestal. When I worship God, I know I'm not a fool. Me no business at all if me look and cool. Long as my Jesus rule. Coulda disrespect me and treat me cruel. Gonna tell it in the workplace, tell it in a school. My God of the universe has footstool. Jesus Christ, He rules, yeah. Yeah, Jimmy, now. Stop it there. Stop it. Stop. Would you like that? You want one more? Hold on, let me take a sip of water just for us, you know. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with no voice. And we can't have that. All right, so run the last track there. Yeah, Jimmy now. Yo, any time, yeah. Any time, yeah. Any time, yeah. Anytime I say Jesus, my resistance to temptation gets stronger. So me hold on with all of me might and say, who God bless, let no man put us under. Satan is beneath me, trampled underfoot like mud, yeah. And everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a Jesus blood now. Anytime if come back again. What me want you do? You see when I do the verse? Just draw him down. Cool. Someone have to shout. All right. And then bring him up in the chorus so we can get happy. Yeah? All right, bless. Yeah, hear me now. Yeah. People, can you hear me now? Yeah. Any time, yeah. Any time, yeah. Anytime I say Jesus, my resistance to temptation gets stronger. So me hold on with all of me might and say, who God bless, let no man put us under. Satan is beneath me, trampled under feet like mud, yeah. And everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a look. Anytime I see a hot girls a flirt, just up in a mini skirt, all a button down shirt. My flesh wanna stay, but I got to be dispersed and run away, yeah. Just like Joseph did now. That no means say me funny, no. It's not my nature to turn down honey, no. But if a blessing a come my way, y'all, I don't want fornication to be me downfall. So anytime I say Jesus, my resistance to temptation gets stronger. So me hold on with all of me might and say, who God bless, let no man put us under. Satan is beneath me, trampled on our feet like mud, yeah. And everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a look. Bookie shop dip on every corner, and this a gambling spirit have me under pressure, yeah. It no matter if a spring or summer, could a middle autumn or even in the winter. Steeple chases every day at the races. Them places used to have me money locked down. Sad faces, cause I just lost my wages. Couldn't take it, and so I had to put my foot down. Now me no give them nothing, none at all. Well, I tip me short collar button, none at all. If a blessing a come my way, y'all, I don't want foolishness to be me downfall. So when the time I say Jesus, my resistance to temptation gets stronger. So me hold on with all of me might and say, who God bless, let no man put us under. Satan is beneath me, trampled under feet like mud, yeah. And everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a Jesus blood now. Anytime I say Jesus, my resistance to temptation gets stronger. So me hold on with all of me might and say, who God bless, let no man put us under. Satan is beneath me, trampled under feet like mud, yeah. And everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a low. Anytime I fall out with my wife, we have to kiss and make up before the end of the night, right? It no matter if she says she want fight, could I pack on my bags and say, you leaving tonight? Hold her close and then me squeeze her tight. So happily spoken, me have to talk to her right. Take a deep breath and then me swallow my pride. And make her remember she had the love of my life. And that no mean say me a idiot, but a wise man know when fi shush and when fi chat. And if a blessing a come my way, y'all, I don't want unforgiveness to be me downfall. So when the time I say Jesus, my resistance to temptation gets stronger. So me hold on with all of me might and say, who God bless, let no man put us under. Satan is beneath me, trampled under feet like mud, yeah. And everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a Jesus blood, me say Jesus. If you need an explanation, then me say Jesus. Son of God, son of man, me say Jesus. Who is the great I am, me say Jesus. Who is the conquering lion, me say my light and my salvation, me say my guidance and protection, me say with him me could never go wrong, me say heal is the candid and the dumb, me say yeah. Anytime I say Jesus, my resistance to temptation gets stronger. So me hold on with all of me might and say, who God bless, let no man put us under. Satan is beneath me, trampled under feet like mud, yeah. And everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a Jesus blood now. Everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a Jesus blood now. Everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a, me cover it up in a, me cover it up in a Jesus blood now. Everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a Jesus blood now. Cover it up in a Jesus blood now. Cover it up in a, cover it up in a, cover it up in a Jesus blood now. Anytime I say Jesus, my resistance to temptation gets stronger. So me hold on with all of me might and say, who God bless, let no man put us under. Satan is beneath me, trampled under feet like mud, yeah. And everything seems so easy. From me cover it up in a Jesus blood, yeah. My name is Richard and my love no. God bless.
Yo, you know you have to come down and talk to us, right? Yeah. You know you have to come down and talk to us.
Boy, you have to give me 10 minutes to catch my breath still. No, really.
Man, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Do you know what? For those who actually don't realize who this guy is, a real legend in the game, all you need to look at his tunes like this when you come back in the day. You understand what I mean? Real legend in the game. We're talking about late 90s, early 2000s. This guy was doing some big things. All right, let's give it a little skip so you can hear what it really is. Let's do this. Let's go.
Some of them just can't wait for Mr. Right and Mrs. Right for coming at them live. We'll make a tell them something.
This is Richie Dan. All right.
Will be. Get this good now, girls. Cause it fades, I want to want.
People try to fight the feeling, but I know you can. That was one. That was just one. Who remembers this one? We're getting them through them real quickly. Just real quickly. Let's do this. Like I said, for those who don't really know who Richie Dan is, this is Richie Dan. We're right over here now. Listen what the Richie Dan saying. Bruv. I know you still got energy on stage though.
Yes, bro.
Still got energy on stage.
Can't lose that.
Bruh.
Even when the walking stick come.
Walking stick, Zimmer frame, everything. You'll probably be breakdancing up there. Yeah. So, like, oh no, I can't even hear myself now. Oh, I can hear myself now. So, how long have you been doing the gospel game?
I don't know. It's like on and off since I got, I don't know, probably about 2008, on and off.
Okay.
Yeah, just
that's a very long time, bro.
Well, yeah, just in church, like not really pushing it, just ministering to my church brethren and sisters,
Yeah.
and every now and again getting invited out somewhere else.
So now you're just fully gospel. You don't.
No, I just make music.
Yes.
I make music, and this happens to be my gospel catalog, and through me I have a different heart when I make. Ordinary music comes out with different lyrics, not different kind of lyrics. That's all.
So you're still a music man, but you just kind of
man.
just
I don't want to put. Like we were saying earlier in the conversation, I don't want to be put in a box. You get me?
Wicked.
Let's make the music, man.
Yeah. 360 degrees of music.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. And in terms of the music that you're putting out now, so you're putting out reggae music, you're putting out little piece of dancehall music. So what is the most music you put out? I mean, do you still put Outlaw Garage at all? Or any garage?
Well, it's hard to kind of top what's gone in the past. So I experiment with stuff.
Yes.
And if it don't make the grade, I just dash it out. You get me? I'm not trying to go backwards with that stuff. You see me?
Okay, I hear you.
It did what it did.
Yeah.
And it got me what it got me. And if I can match it, at least match it, then I will push that out there. So but I'm not trying to draw it back and say, no, I don't even want them to even hang on to anything.
So in terms of what we was talking about little earlier, have you thought about remixing a couple of the lines on Call It Fate and turn it into a gospel tune? Because I swear that will kill.
You know what? My first response was no to that. You get me?
Yeah.
It was leave the classic how the classic is.
Yeah.
Nobody that spoil it, but in speaking to yourself and other people, it's like getting to me, and I'm thinking maybe I should.
I think people want to hear
reword the lyrics so it can bless them. Never mind spoil the classic. It can bless the classic.
Exactly. I like that. Bless the classic. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's like if you're in a gospel, I was about to say gospel dance, a gospel concert. You know what I mean? And you wanted to go back to bring it forward. For me, that's the way you were doing it.
Yeah. It's making sense.
Yes.
I was stubborn though. I'm not up until now, even from the beginning up until now, I've been stubborn about it and saying no, leave the classic how the classic is. But I'm soft.
You're open now.
I'm open now.
All right. so those who don't know, right? Yeah. You got a different Richie today, because Richie is known as the Reload King. Every single tune that Richie that comes on will get reload 15,000 times.
Yeah, me and the band will make a 2 tune last 40 minutes.
Boy, so is it still the same Richie? You still do the holy per reload?
I try to just stick it to 1 or 2 because I never used to care about the DJ that was coming on after me before.
Yes, okay, I get
now
you.
I kind of have a little bit of, a little feeling for him still. I used to wonder, why is this guy screaming, man? But I just took half an hour out of his set with rewinds.
Oh, boy. Half an hour.
Bro, that's the biggest. Some of the biggest DJs. They will just be standing at the back like.
Vex waiting.
This guy's taking up my time, but the crowd, when
Yeah,
the
the
people
hype.
say, yeah,
The
this
hype.
is another thing, like
Yeah.
what we was talking about earlier, though. When you reach the people,
Mhm.
you just have to do what you can with that moment. You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? So I always, if the people are on it, I always make the DJ wait rather than make the people them lose what they want to have. You get me?
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's just a different day, and it's a new day.
So what's coming from Richie?
Yeah, I'm working on the album.
Name of the album yet?
I'm toying with a couple of names.
Okay.
One of them Transformed.
Transform. Okay.
Yeah,
I like
one
that
of them
name.
is Transformed.
I like that name.
But yeah, as I go on the tune and the tunes get finished and completed, and then I find that they're working for the album, then I'll just make a final decision on what to call the whole project.
And how many songs have you got ready for the album already?
About 9.
About 9. And how many are you looking for?
I just let the Lord tell me when it's done.
Okay, all right.
It's definitely
I like that.
It's definitely not gonna be. It's definitely not gonna be. Oh, I'm gonna do one more, and it's gonna be a 9-track album. It's
Yeah.
not gonna do that. And
Okay.
I'm not going for 26 tracks neither. That's a 2 album.
So why you don't call it Reload King? all right. Take me out of that. So, do you have a completion date for the album?
No, I haven't.
No?
I haven't. I should really just get onto that, and it'll push me. But like you said, life. I work as well. I'm not like doing music how I was doing it back in the day. I was like full on the road, going for it.
Yeah.
Trying to be famous, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm done with that now. I'm not trying to be famous. And if I go out and do work like that, it's just work. It's like I gotta pay the bills, as Charlene was saying. I have to feed the family. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah, I'm just pushing on doing work. I'm working 9 to 5 to feed the family and, keep a roof over the head. And when I can get in studio, I do.
Okay.
So it's not as quick a process as back in the day, but we'll get there.
Yes.
We'll get there, man.
All right, so now, there's going to be people out there who's going to want to connect with you and, even just look onto your socials to find out, when things are coming and what's coming next. So how can people get in contact with you?
The mad thing about me is I'm not that social guy, and I need to change that.
Yeah,
but you
definitely.
can find me on Insta, Original Richie Dan. Hit me up on there. And
That's RICHIE.
IE, yeah.
Yep. And that's Dan, not Don.
Yeah, DAN.
Yes. So Original Richie
first,
Dan on
original.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other socials you got?
Not really, I'm not trying to get like my head spun by this thing, until I got a team in place. I'm just gonna keep it simple. So Insta me, and then we can take it from there. If anybody is really old school and they want to Skype me, they can. Yeah, Richie.Dan. Yeah?
That's a Skype.
Yeah, man can Skype,
You have Morse code?
Richie.Dan.
You have Morse code?
Richie.Dan.
Man said Morse code
Richie.Dan, Bedroom.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been AAA Access All Areas. Can we get one more round of applause for Richie Dan?
Yeah. Thank you. God bless you, bro.
So our next Access All Areas will be next month. Obviously, it's the first Saturday of each month, and the first Saturday of next month is, unless somebody calls it out, I have to look in my phone. 5th of June, all right? 5th of June, right here, same place, I think it will most likely be on Twitch as well. So if it's not, we're gonna let you know that on our socials. Remember, our socials are at AAA Seminars. No. Let's not say AAA. At AAA Seminars. Yeah. At AAA Seminars. Get in contact with us or keep a look on our socials to see what's going on. The next one is going to be the 1-year anniversary of our racism in the music industry. Yeah, so we're going to look at the effect of racism in the music industry 1 year on. All right? Remember, this has been AAA Seminars, and you can contact us like this.
Access All Areas, your AAA pass to the music industry. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at AAA Seminars. On Facebook, fb.com/AAA Seminars. On LinkedIn, AAA Seminars. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Access All Areas Seminars. AAA access all areas.
7 signs. 7 symbols. 7 signs. 7 symbols. Come see heaven's guide through these 7 signs. With each one, watch their levels rise, revealing Jesus the Nazarite as the Christ, as the light, as the vine. Each sign so sublime blows your mind. Each sign over time testifies, intensifies that he's the Christ. He's one of a kind and he's the prime in my rhyme. Though he performed many other miracles, he's point to him, he's not any individual. He is the Christ, Son of God, fully visible. Some are made doubtful, critical, cynical. We write these rhymes on the signs to convince you all. Lend us your time and the mind on the lyrical. Believe in his name and you will have life. Come see, be amazed, miraculous sign. First sign at a wedding in Galilee. Jesus chilly with the bed of the family. People eating plenty of lamb and meat, no more wine. Set the calamity, the servants followed the master's order. Filled to the rim many jars of water. And Jesus works the first of his kind. Multiple liters turn into wine. Please see, there's more to the story. It's vital. You see my core oratory, insightful. You see my expository. Disciples believe because I saw his glory. Like the fisher with son of an ill for nights. Close to death, he went and appealed to Christ. Please come, tis running, filled his eyes.
DJ Longers.
You're worthy. You're worthy. Oh my God, you're worthy.
Our last one before we get out of here. Hope you've enjoyed. And we've had a very great panel today. A very great panel.
What makes you worthy? Your love, your peace, and all the joy you give. You ain't out of glory, and you're so great.
DJ Longers.
The L, the O, the N, the G, the E, the R, the S.
Okay, so this is my last one. We're signing off. We're signing off back on the 5th of June. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you're following. Make sure you're subscribing. We're out of here. See you later. It's been ages. Hold on. I'm coming. 1 second.